it's become very clear to me that most men today don't get it. I'm not even going to say some, I'm going to say most men today. Most men today don't get it. They don't get it. Maybe they were raised as mama's boys. Maybe they were raised deficient, but they don't get it. I'm not going to say this in a diplomatic way. I'm going to say they don't get it because they don't acknowledge that folks have declared open warfare against us. I'm not going to begin where you might think I'm going to begin on tonight's program. I'm actually going to begin here with Tia Mowry. And there was an article that was posted by Essence. And in their article, they said, stop criticizing Tia Mowry and women like her for leaving, quote, good men. That's the article. That's the headline. Stop criticizing Tia Mowry and women like her for leaving good men. Now, while the rest of your favorite YouTubers have been talking about the article, that's not what I'm talking about. When you go on Facebook, I want to show you something. As you can see, there's over 1,700 comments, and I want to show you some of the comments. Just because he appeared to be a good man to others doesn't mean he was a good man to or for her. Who said he's a good man? She left for a reason. Define what is a good man. People have different definitions of a good man. Some say as long as he pays the bills, he good. He good. With a name like Pouncy, all right, she's straight from that otherwise civil housing project. Some say, long as he pay the bills, he good. Some say, oh boy, run-on sentence. What she say? This grammar student here. Some may say, as long as he don't cheat, he's good. Some may say, as long as he doesn't physically put hands on me, we good. Or if he's good to his children, I'm good with that. Everyone have their non-negotiable, boys. All right. Everyone have their non-negotiable as well as ideas of what qualifies or quantifies an individual as good. Yeah. Somebody with a tenuous grasp on both reality and the English language attempted to extend herself way too far on that last sentence, qualifies or quantifies. She couldn't tell you what either one of those means, by the way. Now I wanted you to see that there, because that's not a joke. How do y'all know he was a good man? Two people are in a marriage. If you grow apart, there is nothing left to build on. I wish them both well. They got together young. Maybe they just grew apart. You all see this here? Do you see that? Do you see that? I'm just making a point for you there. Take a look at what the women uniformly are saying. This is across the board. This is what the women as a group are saying. Take a look at it over and over again. Nobody was in the relationship but him and her. A knows what the hell? Keita. It's nobody's place to judge her for leaving versus staying. Keep her off jury duty. You're going to do a life sentence. The definition of what is good depends on the people involved. So in other words, what she's saying here, you take a look at that face. What she's saying is that there is no objective definition of good. There is no objective definition of good. Do you all also understand the frightening reality that shines on you to have somebody like this twisted individual saying that there's no definition of good, that you can define whatever good means for yourself? Well, that also means that you get to define what bad is for yourself. You get to define what is bad. So you see, another person cannot say that what you've done is objectively bad, and other people cannot judge you. Well, that opens up whoring, slutting, and everything else for the women. Now, for the men, you better be a honor roll student. We don't tell you what good is. But by the way, when you have somebody like this, can you imagine being in a relationship with this dog here? Can you imagine that? Because she's going to tell you that, well, good is whatever I say it is today. I'm female and I say so. I meant that. Her ex is a good man, just not good for her. He'll be okay. Good. All these laugh until you cry emojis. By the way, these are females uniformly. Boy, take a look at this heifer right here. Okay. Now I want you all to understand something. The thing I want the fellas to understand, I can keep going here if you want me to, but I want you to understand, these are the folks telling you about what morality means for you. These are the folks that will tell you, you need to get into a marriage. These are the folks who will sit up here and try to bludgeon you into marriage and sit up here and wave their trophies if they get married. And then this is the reality of what they think marriage is. That marriage is an obligation on you as a man. It's not an obligation on them. Most fellas don't get it. Most fellas don't get it. That's the issue. If you don't fit, you don't fit. Leave the good person. They just good for someone else. Now, Guardian Watch said, not women questioning if he a good man after she said it many times. Dude, I'm female and I say so. Not I'm white and I say so. I'm woman and I say so. All right. Men move on from good women every day. B, women can too. Okay. According to the divorce statistics and relationship statistics, women initiate 80% of divorces and 90% of breakups in relationships, period. No. It's not the men who do that. So let's kill that lie. Now take a look at this chick right here. Her ex-husband was not what they call a good man. She gives absolutely no qualifier for it, no proof, no substantiation. Look it up. She just says that statement, even after she said he was a good man many times. This chick just comes back here. I'm a woman and I say so. He was not a good man. The females are starting to resemble white supremacists. I said that. Let me take both sides of the argument. It's whatever I say it is today, as I say it. And most males are not getting it. They're not getting it. When you have a female who starts off with take a look at that picture there. She thinks she is smart and pretty and brilliant and wise and caring. You get into a relationship with her, let me tell you, she's going to be having you chewing the paint off the walls. Both could be good people. That doesn't mean they were ultimately good together. It appears as though they grew apart in their marriage. They. She was the one filed for divorce about they. Now, this is an excellent question from Devin Leroy. If women are leaving, quote, good men, what's the incentive for men to be good? Now, first comment is from Michelle Campbell. Okay. All right. The incentive to be a good man should be your own integrity and dignity. Also, if you believe in God, you should be a good man for him. Okay, then why do you have to be a good man to a woman? Just be good to God. I'm sure they will redefine that as, oh, being good to your woman is being good to God. No, I thought good was whatever I say it is. Dumb response here. Sometimes as a man, being good can cause you to lose integrity and dignity. You shouldn't even be responding to them. They already just sat here and told you. Well, you should just do it because you should just do it. Okay, how about do it for everyone except her? Now take a look at this one. Another female. Children, family, friends, self-respect, to find new love. Well, we just covered that. Now he said the real question is what makes a woman leave a good man? If the woman were leaving the good men, it makes sense to not be good to keep her. He finally gets around to articulating it correctly. If women stayed with the good men, trust me, every man on the planet would be good. She responds, what makes a man leave a good woman? People change. Now, this is the real problem right here. Is he said, what makes a woman leave a good man? She said, what makes a man leave a good woman? So do you understand the psychoses that we're dealing with here? Do you understand that? You talk to them about women and they immediately start talking to you. Let's talk about men. We don't have any problems. Let's talk about men. Now, how are you supposed to get anything done when you're dealing with individuals like that? Most fellas don't get it. This is what I mean by most fellas don't get it. You got fellas running around with the damn cape on and trying to soft shoe their way through these things. And I'm telling you that you don't get it. And yes, she's big as a house. And take a look at that face. And then you're talking to her about, by the way, why should men be good if the women are going to drop good men? What makes men leave a good woman? We're talking about the men being good and the women leaving the good men. Well, what makes a good man leave? The next comment here. Fellas, look at all the responses from women. You'd be a fool to marry any of them. Just get what makes you happy out of them and get gone. By the way, next comment here from Portia Prestigious Price, Porky Pig Price. That nigga wasn't good. They never are. They never are. That's why women like her don't want them. So she knows Tia better than she knows the husband. She don't know either one of them. She doesn't know either one of them. But take a look at the male hatred here. I want you to understand that. As a man, you don't get it. You don't get it. You don't get it when you are dumb enough and gullible enough that when people sit up here and post things like this, you don't have any critical thinking skills. You don't respond logically. You respond emotionally. You don't respond logically. You're responding emotionally. As you all are aware here, while I was broadcasting last week, the story broke about Diddy and a video recording of him getting into a physical confrontation with Cassie was leaked either by her or the feds or both. He had paid a bunch of money to get his hands on that video, and then somehow it's gotten out there. My bet would be the feds leaked it. But in any case, A lot of folks out there started jumping up and down and whatnot, and that simp gene that a lot of fellas carry around with them, that hoe gene started to go to work. Fellas, the point I'm making to you here is the females are on code. What? You take a look at these uniform responses is the point I'm trying to make to the men. Fellas, you don't get it. The females are on code, man. They are lockstep. They are locking arms. The females are on code. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Who the hell do you think you're fooling? You're sitting up here trying to virtue signal and convince the females that you're one of the good guys, and they're thinking you're going to get some leftover sex from somebody, and they're literally in the comment section saying there's no such thing as a, quote, good man. And they've been saying this now for 4 decades. Fellas, you don't get it. They're literally sitting here in your face telling you there's no such thing as a good man. And some of you candy ass mama's boys will sit up here with, if I talk to her long enough, I can change her and change her mind and redeem her and make her good. Because you're desperate for sex and desperate for companionship. And she's literally sitting here telling you, by the way, in the story of the scorpion and the frog, I'm the scorpion. Let me jump on your back. Then when these chicks sting them, they say, oh boy. And they're literally here on this Essence post on Facebook telling you to your face over and over and over and over and over again, there's no such thing as a good man. Some of them are light-skinned, some of them are dark-skinned, most of them are fat and single moms, some of them aren't. Practically all of them are telling you, oh yeah, by the way, no matter what, you might, and here's the thing, if you don't see these comments on the Essence page, you wouldn't know that they made it. You wouldn't know that that chick made this kind of comment or had that kind of sentiment unless you're on Essence's page. It's very unlikely she would say it otherwise. It's very unlikely you would say it otherwise. You don't get it. Let me go ahead and take a few moments here to illuminate you on a few things. By the way, if you like tonight's program, I should see folk liking it. If they don't like it, I'll stop it easy, but okay. If folks don't like tonight's program, we'll wrap it up quickly, and that's fine too. When it comes down to Diddy and the information here, by the way, thought we would go a little bit further here now. They've been talking the last 24 hours about a chick named Lampros. This is from Fox News. To show you how diabolical and demonic they are. To show you that you're on the 5th step of Nazi Germany. You take a look at that headline from Fox News. Diddy allegedly forced student ex-Kim Porter to take ecstasy during sexual assault, according to new lawsuit. Allegedly forced student. Well, if you read that headline, you would think, oh my God, Diddy has grabbed some high schooler or some middle schooler. That's what you would think. They said forced a student. They didn't say another female. They didn't say student. They didn't say an intern, which is what she was. When she met him, her whole reason for wanting to get next to him was to intern. Didn't say that either. They describe her simply as a student, knowing that reading that at face value, you're going to make the assumption, oh, we talking about a minor? So just understand, they've taken the damn gloves off, man. They're just like, man, screw it. Just throw miscommunication and misdirection out there, knowing that you're going to be lying by omission. Say, go ahead and do it anyway. To the fellas, you don't get it. You ain't never seen a headline do this to a female. You don't get it. While you're sitting up here falling lockstep behind it, by the way, you don't get it. Did you realize that everyone from the females online to the white corporate media to the black corporate media to the court system to the FBI, everybody is on code. Everybody's on code against you. Now I want to go into this for a moment because I just so happen to have a copy of the lawsuit here. Ordinarily, I take you chapter and verse through a lawsuit. You know I am that guy. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply remind you of three things. Number one, this chick has waited decades to say something, which is your first clue that there's a problem. Secondly, when she does file her lawsuit, take a look at what she names, because Cassie and her slimeball attorney, what they did was they set a template. Now, there was one thing, I will say that I made various predictions about how things were going to go. There was one thing that usually does not happen. It practically never occurs, but apparently this time it did. Cassie and her lawyers named all these corporate entities that P. Diddy had and owned and worked with because her lawyers were attempting to trigger something. And as I understand it, they did. That by suing the corporate entities, it immediately triggered the corporate entities' insurance companies. And that whether Diddy wanted to fight the lawsuits or whether he wanted to settle the lawsuits, the insurance company is going to decide whether they fight it or whether you settle it. They're like, man, we don't care what you say. We have no interest in fighting this. We're settling it. Whether you wish to fight it or not, we're settling this. And that's what allegedly, as we're hearing, happened with Cassie. Now, you'd figure if the amount on the line was millions of dollars, they would fight it to the hilt. But apparently, allegedly, they didn't do that. If it was all Diddy's money, I imagine he would have fought that. But they bypassed him, and it's like, oh, no, nigga, we on the take. We're suing all these corporate entities and the record labels and the music distributors. We're going after all of them, and we are wagering that they will not have nearly the appetite to fight that you will. So we're using you, and either you gonna pay us or they gonna pay us, but even if you don't pay us, we figure your insurance company is not gonna want to fight this. And that's what's occurred. That's what Cassie did. Now, I'm going to come back to Cassie in a few moments. I'm going to come back to her in just a few moments, but let me address this latest lawsuit from Miss April Lampros. It tells you that she was a student. Yeah, she was a student, all right, but she was a student at an art school. So, in any case, you can take a look at when they say about how they met or when they met. That's the, they're talking about the entities, by the way. Keep that in mind. Okay, it says they met in early 1994. At the time, she was a college student. Fox News would sit up here and have you believe that she was a middle school student. No, she's a grown woman. She was an adult. And she met Diddy. And she was, of course, enamored. He was having his snow bunny season back in 94. And she was enamored with the rest of them. But I want y'all to remember something. 1994. 1994. You're seeing a number of things come up here. What else was happening around this time? there were rumors that the president of the United States at that time, President Bill Clinton, your other YouTubers did not remind you about this. In 1994, if you'll remember, that's when the rumors began to break that the then president of the United States, Bill Clinton, had an intern at the White House named Monica Lewinsky that he had been engaging in extracurricular activities with. But the thing about Monica was that, ominously, the reason why all the Fox News people and the other Nazis out there focused on Monica was because the rumor was that Monica had done something the others had not done. Monica had preserved evidence that she actually had Bill Clinton's DNA, which would be prima facie proof of a sexual encounter. Now that set a new precedent. After Lewinsky, then you start hearing about the NBA athletes with chicks digging in the garbage to try to dig their used condoms out. All of a sudden, DNA became the thing to do. It's like, oh, the court system will let us, if the court system will let you take down a president with DNA, oh, this nigga on the NBA team, that's not going to be a problem. That's not going to be a problem. Not an issue at all. And ever since then, you've been hearing this kind of stuff. So, yes, just understand that. These chicks learned. They learned that this is what they learned from Monica Lewinsky. Get some DNA, get some semen, and put it in a bag for 20 years. This is your break glass just in case whiteness doesn't work out for you. What? Just in case whiteness don't work out for you. Oh, I've been sitting on this lottery ticket. I slept with Diddy back in the Death Row Records era. So I've been sitting on this lottery ticket. Don't you understand that's what it is? No, I'm not making this up. She's like, let me pack away this souvenir. I've been sitting on this lottery ticket. Now, it says when she met Mr. Combs, Ms. Lampros shared with him her dreams of working in the fashion industry. And Mr. Combs promised to mentor her and help her by introducing her to music and fashion industry executives, as well as assisting her with finding work. Okay. They say that he was sending her notes. He sent notes to every damn body, apparently. All right. Now, here's where they start talking about sexual encounter number 1. Now, to anybody who wants to defend Cassie or any of the rest of these folks, you start to see an ominous pattern form. Says here, sexual assault encounter number 1. The first horrific sexual encounter. Remember this word, people. Horrific. Horror. Jason, they're telling you in the lawsuit. It was horrific. Horror. Freddy Krueger. It was terrible. That's what they're saying. It was horror. Okay. Hold on to that word and keep that energy. Because you're about to look 7 candy-coated flavors of stupid if you are defending any of these women. By the way, remember, horror. Horror. The first horrific sexual encounter occurred in 1995 when Ms. Lampros met up with Mr. Combs in south of Houston Street, Soho, for those of you who didn't know what Soho means, at a bar that's in New York. She was introduced to a woman named Redacted, and the group lightly drank throughout the evening. At the time, Ms. Lampros was a college student and did not drink any alcohol. apparently she did that night. They saying that she don't drink alcohol. And then they tell you, by the way, she started drinking alcohol. Due to Mr. Combs' delusional and violent outbursts, she succumbed to pressure and reluctantly drank with Mr. Combs. And do y'all hear this? As they drank, Miss Lampros began to feel uneasy. At this point, she had only had a few sips of one drink. Miss Lampros and Redacted were guided to a vehicle and left the bar with Mr. Combs. All right, it's from here they say that Mr. Combs violently assaulted her. Violent, evil, horror, violent, evil, horror, violent, evil, horror. Miss Lampros was being raped by Mr. Combs, and she soon passed out. Folks, doesn't this sound awful? Doesn't this sound terrible? Doesn't this sound absolutely diabolical? Horror, evil, monstrous, demonic, nightmare on Yo Street. The next morning, Miss Lampros was awoken by the sun peering through the drapes. She was nude, sore, and confused. Miss Lampros quickly got out of bed, clothed herself, and left the hotel room as fast as she could. Now, this next paragraph, for anybody who's defending Cassie or the rest of them, a pattern has formed. Get ready to show yourself as stupid and gullible as you are, and you, if you're a male, you just don't get it. Months later, months after the evil, vicious, horrible sexual assault incident, Mr. Combs pursued Miss Lampros. He sent her gifts, cards, and flowers, and used his power and access to music industry events to lure Miss Lampros back to him. What is she, a puppy, and he's got kibbles and bits? Now listen to the next sentence to show how dog stupid some of you are, and will continue to be. I'm under no illusions that you'll wisen up. Miss Lampros was a hopeful yet naive college student and took Mr. Combs at his word and believed that the first rape was a possible mulligan. What? And decided to give him a second chance.
Damn! Boy, what in the hell's the matter with you?
Folks. So, I was just young and dumb and naive. I was brain dead. I made it to college by being dumb and brain dead. And he violently raped me. He left me sore and naked and confused and drugged. Months later, he said, "Hey, what you doing?" She said, "Oh, I'm out here somewhere." He said, "Hey, come roll with us." She said, "All right." And mulligan, for those of you who don't know, that means a do-over. For those of you who don't know, yes, the event was so terrible, so horrific, such a horrible, horrific event that she immediately said, "Yeah, let's have a mulligan." For those of you who don't know golf, that's a term from golf. At least its application here is a term from golf. A do-over. Yes, the incident was so horrific that her very first opportunity to be back in his presence, she walked that off. Yeah, all the Cassie clowns. By the way, it was such a violent incident that she said, "Yeah, let me go back and go get some more of that." They're telling you in the lawsuit, her attorneys are sitting here telling you that, well, she was such a kind-hearted person that she let the first rape slide.
Nigga, please.
Do y'all get that? The lawyer is sitting here telling you that, well, she was just hopeful. Don't you mean groupie money grubbing? Yeah, she was hopeful and naive. Don't you mean avaricious? That this was such a terrible incident that she let the first rape slide. That's what they're saying. She just let the first rape slide. She's like, okay, well, you get a freebie. You get one freebie. Okay, Diddy, that was really awful and terrible, and you drugged me and you raped me and I was sore, and take that and take this and freak off and freak in, but you know what? All right, you get one freebie. You get one freebie. That's where her attorney is literally sitting here telling you, well, she gave him a do-over and decided to give him a second chance. I thought it was horrible, horrific, nightmarish, mind-bogglingly terrible. She was terrified of him. Why, he was delusional and violent outbursts. And as soon as she had distance from him, he had no power to make her do anything. Hey, why don't you come roll with us? All right. Yeah, you know about that rape thing? I'm going to let that slide. That's okay. Yeah, you get one freebie with me. All right, let's go. Now, then the attorney tries to clean this up in the next sentence. At the time, Miss Lampros was a college student in her late teens and early 20s. Her decision to return to Mr. Combs after being raped is indicative of many assault survivors who return to their abusers. People, this wasn't his girlfriend. This wasn't his wife. She wasn't in the family. She was just a chick hoping to get hired. That's all. And he's trying to frame this as if they were in some relationship or something. Fellas, if you're defending any of these women, all I can say is after you just heard what you saw here, and this is shades of Cassie's lawsuit, by the way, then you just don't get it. You just don't. If you're a bum ass with nothing to lose, your life has been a complete failure and a joke, then you just sitting around talking stupid. Look, I believe Cassie. Do you think she'll DM me if I tell her I believe her? I believe you, Cassie. Yeah, I know you married, but can you come see me when you get done with it? Come on, Cassie. Y'all gotta take it easy on Cassie now. Do you realize what an ignoramus you have to be at this point? They're telling you what it is. If you're still defending them after reading this, you just don't get it, and there is no getting it for you. By the way, next sentence, Miss Lambros agreed to meet with Mr. Combs to discuss the business opportunities he promised, as he knew her passion was to pursue a career in fashion and music. So once again, allegedly like Cassie, she is, folks, Eazy-E didn't let nobody diddle him. I've talked to Alonzo Williams. Shout out Alonzo. I know Alonzo. Y'all know I know Alonzo. When Eazy paid Alonzo to meet Jerry Heller, it wasn't no Diddy going on. He paid the man, and he got to meet Jerry Heller. You meeting female after female telling you that after Diddy yanked on that thong, oh, he didn't have my permission from the very first time. I never willingly slept with him. Ever, ever, ever. Every sexual encounter was non-consensual. But I kept going back for more. Because I'm trying to get on. So they want to get into the industry this damn bad? While they tell guys working at Starbucks, I can't talk to you. So these females, their excuse for letting these guys get, one or two trial runs at rape is, oh, well, I was hoping he would give me a job. Yeah, you get a few freebies. If you can connect me to somebody, you get a few freebies. Yes, I can overlook rape if there is a business opportunity involved. I'm willing to overlook rape if there's a business opportunity involved, because I want this business opportunity just that bad. So I will overlook quote unquote rape. Now, this is not Jason Black talking. I'm reading to you from the lawsuit. The same thing that Cassie said. Exact same thing Cassie said. Isn't this amazing? Ain't this amazing over and over again? Some of y'all hate your dads just that badly, and I wish you would get over it, but that's up to you to get over it. But don't get mad at me because I'm actually reading Cassie's words and reading Miss Lamprose's words. Don't get mad at me because I'm actually reading it. Just because reality is not lining up the way you wish it were so you could punish your dad. Now, listen to the next sentence here. They met up and talked near his Manhattan apartment, which was somewhere near 30th Street at that time. Miss Lamprose was under the impression that what had occurred months prior between them would not happen again. Yeah, because we all know rapists only rape you once. They only drug you and rape you once. Somebody who's so determined to rape you that they drug you, we all know, yeah, come back over here. We all know they only do that once. We all know they only do that once. We all know that. Mr. Combs was respectful, regained her trust. To the ladies listening tonight, live or recorded, will you please explain to me either in the chat or in the comment section after the broadcast tonight, will you please explain to me what a man has to say respectfully enough to regain your trust after, quote, violently, horribly, horrifically sexually assaulting you. Tell me what a fella got to say. I want to know, what is it that he says, or how did he say it that he gets to violently, horrifically leave you sore assault? And he comes back and talks to you and says, yeah, baby, it's just one of those things. Can we sit and talk about this? Tell me how you feel. Oh, well, I want you to understand that that's not really the real me. I thought you liked that kind of thing. I thought you liked being drugged and carried away and then assaulted. And I thought you liked that. Like that. Take that back. I thought you liked that. Oh, well, I've turned over a new leaf in the last 60 days, and I don't think it's right to be doing that there. So, ladies, to anybody out there, if you want to get upset about this, tell me. You can shut me down right now and just tell me, what does a man have to say to be respectful enough to regain your trust after supposedly, allegedly, violently raping you? What does a man got to say? Because there's a whole bunch of fellas who are like, yeah, tell us what the magic phrase is. Well, Jason, if you do it to me, if you come back and you just say, baby, it was... Tell me, what is the phrase that the man says, or what are the words, or what tone of voice does he have to say it in? I want to know, because according to her attorneys, and by the way, for a female who is 19 or 20 years old, every female in here was 19 or 20 years old at some point. Tell me what a man had to say to you at 19 or 20 years old after leaving you sore and aching, and you took that, and he calls you back a couple months later, and you talking about, you violently raped me, right? And tell me how he explains it to you in a manner in which he has, quote, regained your trust. Because the attorney is admitting that This woman, after she was supposedly sexually assaulted, she flips back to zero. She's like, let's bygones be bygones. That's literally what he's saying. He regained her trust. Folks, I want to know, how do you regain somebody's trust after they have violently assaulted you and left you butt naked and sore the next day? I want to know what you say to them, because according to some of you dunderheads and world-class idiots, apparently there is something you can say. I want to know, what is it you can say? What's the magic phrase? How, and if it's a common phrase, tell me what's the tone of voice you got to say it in to regain somebody's trust after you have violently, horrifically sexually assaulted them. In the chat room, Vicky said, oops, my bad. No, well, I don't know. We'll have to check with Cassie and Miss Lampros here to see what that phrase is, because apparently P. Diddy is way beyond most men when it comes to negotiation. Or could it be that bank account was doing all the damn talking and she was trying to have enough sexual encounters so that one day she could cash it in just in case? Think about this for a few moments. I want to read this paragraph to you. Mr. Combs was respectful, regained her trust, and used their common interactions with Arista Records, parent company of Bad Boys, and Miss Lampros was an intern at Arista. Things seemed to be normal between the two until the second incident of sexual assault. Ladies, so a man can, what they're telling us is that you need to support this woman because you should understand that she's like any other victim of rape. Why, it's normal to be raped. And if somebody says something respectful enough to you, they regain your trust and things return to normal. You thought I was making it up when I said that regaining her trust meant she clicks back to zero. No, her attorney said it. Her attorney said it, that, well, I know you violently raped me and everything, but let bygones be bygones. We're back to, let's start over. Let's have a clean slate. You get one complimentary rape. You get one free complimentary rape. But I'm not holding a grudge. Things seem to be normal. What the hell is normal after somebody rapes you? Apparently, some of you Cassie clowns, some of you folks who defend Cassie and the others, apparently that's the way your vagina works. Or for some of you fellas, that's the way your Diddy works. I'm trying to figure out where on this earth somebody gets to rape you, and then you say that I thought things had returned to normal. I want to know what the hell is normal after somebody, quote unquote, rapes you. Horrifically, terribly, diabolically, evilly. Oh, well, it was so horrible that I thought things were normal. No, you need to explain this to me. Now, if you're going to defend this, and if you're going to attack him on it, fine. Explain this part to me. It should be very easy for you to do. Just explain to me how somebody can rape you and you can return to normal because they were respectful. Just explain that to me, and that's it. Any female who doesn't like it, just explain how you return to normal after somebody rapes you, and then you got a leg to stand on. If you don't, you ain't got a damn leg to stand on. Go write some poison pen letters to your daddy and get it out of your system, but you don't have a leg to stand on. It goes on to say here that during the second incident, they were headed to dinner. Mr. Combs was slightly inebriated. As they headed toward the parking garage, Mr. Combs grabbed Miss Lampros by the waist and forced her down on her. How do you force a woman down on her knees? To, like, stay there? What in the world? What, use a taser? Now she says the garage attendant witnessed the horrific assault. Okay. This sounds like a job for the police department, does it? Doesn't it? Never got there. when Mr. Combs was done with her. Now, by the way, some of this language here is from a Harlequin romance novel without the romance. As Miss Lampro's eyes filled with tears, she could see the parking garage attendant witnessing this horrific assault. This had no impact on Mr. Combs. He was blinded by his lustful desire to pleasure himself at Miss Lampro's expense. This sounds like some To Kill a Mockingbird. This sounds like some evil super nigga stuff. He forced her on her knees and she was paralyzed. Well, hey, can't you all see she's white? Don't you know this Negro used his powers of paralysis? Isn't that what a 20-year-old would do at the prime of her physical abilities? Why, he forced a 20-year-old on the knees and here, yeah, you are now paralyzed. Hold still. Well, can't you see she's white? Doesn't that make sense to you? Can't you see she's white? Lustful desire to pleasure himself. I'm like, really? Now listen to this next part. When Mr. Combs was done with her, he told her to get up. Miss Lampros was in shock, morally depleted, embarrassed, and in full agony because of Mr. Combs violently yanking her down on her knees and pulling her hair. Well, it sounds like yet another horrific incident. All right, she let the first rape slide. Now she has been subjected to yet another horrible, terrible incident. And he's done it twice, so very clearly, respectful or not, very clearly this is going to be a pattern. When you get around Diddy, get ready to get diddled. So, fortunately, she goes to the police right after this. Wait a minute, what? She doesn't? What? Oh, what did she do? Oh, keep reading? All right. Once again, Miss Lampros made the decision to distance herself. Did she distance herself or did Diddy distance himself? And she was wondering, nigga, where you at? And once again, Mr. Combs came back with gifts and empty promises. Miss Lampros was not moved. She had enough and decided to focus on her studies and leave Mr. Combs for good. Okay, well, folks, case closed. That's it. We ain't fooling with him no more. We're not fooling with him anymore. Well, all right. Well, now we got some credibility going on here. Hey, I'm leaving. Leave Mr. Combs for good. I didn't know we were together, but all right. She's leaving for good. All right. Unbeknownst to Miss Lampros, Mr. Combs was not good at accepting rejection. He immediately switched his approach and became angry, threatening, and forceful. He developed this mobster persona, and Miss Lampros was in fear of him. Mr. Combs began calling Miss Lampros incessantly and would often call her just to say, if anyone is in your apartment, I'll beat your ass and theirs. Why is she still accepting phone calls from the man who has violently, horrifically, terribly, unfashionably raped her twice? Sexually assaulted her twice. Why is she still... Will someone explain to me, even at 20 years old, how many ladies in here, 20 years old, you have been violently sexually assaulted? At least the first time he took you behind closed doors. The second time, he's just like, you know what, let's just do it in the road. And you're still taking his phone calls. I want the females to explain to me, what did that man have to say to you that you're still taking his phone calls? Oh, we know what he said. I'm rich. To all the Cassie clowns, you have a lot of explaining to all the Cassie clowns. By the way, because Cassie did the same thing. So what you need to do is explain to all of us, what exactly is it that this man is saying that's getting you to overlook all these alleged incidents? How does that work? Why don't you tell the rest of us, well, Jason, you know what he said. Well, he offered me a record deal. Because so far, that's the only thing we hear being said is that, well, Diddy offered you a record deal. Diddy offered me a record deal. Diddy offered me a record deal. When he came back, he said, hey, you still want that record deal, don't you? You still want that record deal, don't you? The Cassie clowns need to explain to everybody listening, by the way, what exactly is it the man has to say to get you to overlook being raped not once but twice? Why don't you tell all of us the logical, rational explanation that would explain that? That's not codependency. It's not how the hell are you codependent when you just met somebody? Do y'all see how far they go to try to set men up codependent, but you just met them? Yes, but I was dependent on his music. What the hell? How are you codependent and you've only run into somebody 2 or 3 times? You've run into somebody 2 or 3 times. According to you, 2 of the 3 times you were in their presence, they raped you. You're codependent? Really? Do you know what that word means or how that actually develops? Well, you raped me twice, so I thought we was in a relationship. Miss Lampro's reasonable fear of Mr. Combs left her feeling stuck with him and with no way out. He knew where she lived and worked and had connections to ensure her compliance with his demand. Folks, this is a white woman in New York City in the 90s. We're talking Amadou Diallo, Abner Lawima, stop and frisk. Let's stop the bull jive. We're talking about Rudy Giuliani's New York City. A white woman having trouble out of a black male in New York City in 1994, 1995, 1996, New York City, and you telling me that I couldn't do anything. Yes, I know I was white, but Diddy holds all the cards in New York. Yes, I know I'm a blonde-headed, blue-eyed white woman, but Diddy holds all 1990s New York. Yeah, the Central Park 5, Diddy, y'all didn't understand in 1996. Yes, black men were getting killed and put in prison all over the place with white women making false allegations, but I felt I had no power over Diddy. There was nothing you could do about Diddy in the 90s. Even white women, there was nothing we could do. All you Cassie clowns, you sound the same. By the way, y'all are telling me in 1994, 1995, 1996, New York City, stop and frisk, Rudy Giuliani, gunning down black men, mass incarceration, Rikers Island, the whole damn 9 yards. And you're telling me that this white woman really did believe Diddy is the king of New York City. I can't call the police. The police won't do anything to help. Can y'all imagine now a white woman in New York City telling you, call the police. Yes, this is 911. Do you need him? Is it an emergency? Yes, Diddy just raped me. We can't help you. No one can help you. Is that really what you believe happened? Do you really believe in 1990s New York City that that's the way the scenario went? I tried to talk to the police and they said, there's nothing you can do, ma'am. I suggest you just leave this alone. You really believe that happened? Really? All right, the Cassie crackheads are at it again. Now, number 46, she felt that if she disobeyed him, he would take away her dreams of pursuing a career in his world. Folks, she was an intern at Arista. She was a white woman. She make a complaint, Diddy's whole label is gone. And they're telling you again, why did she do it? Oh, because there was a record deal. They are admitting. They're telling you that she wants a record deal so bad. So what they're telling us, fellas, is, hey, if you can offer a chick a record deal, she will overlook rape. Not once, not twice. She'll overlook it for a decade. You just get a free pass. That's what they're telling you. That she wanted a record deal so bad that she was willing to overlook rape. Now, at what point is the person talking to you insulting your intelligence? You want a record deal that damn bad? At what point Are you no longer a victim and you're making a choice? Somebody explain to me, at what point do you switch over from being a victim to, I'm just paying the tax to get over there? Even if you believe these allegations are true, at what point does this stop being a victim and this just starts being, yeah, girl, you doing the most to get that little record deal. You doing the most. At what point are you just a groupie? Somebody tell me, where's that line? Don't worry, the Cassie crackheads will not define it for you. Jasmine, when you go back the second time, it's okay. So the first violent rape, you just get a freebie. Okay, then you get a complimentary rape. Okay, you raped me once. Shame on you. Rape me twice. Shame on me. No, rape me once. Shame on you. Rape me twice. Shame on me. Rape me 10 times in a year. It's kind of iffy. Rape me 50 times. Shame on me. Really? I mean, I'm trying to figure out here. It's like, yeah, that line gets real gray when a fella's paper is this damn thick. All of a sudden, females start talking about, well, maybe I can excuse the first rape. Okay, if you do it to me twice, okay, if you do it a second time, I'll overlook the first one. Let's shake it off. But if you do it again, though, damn it. All right. In the chat room, Jamie, you said they used to call it sleeping your way to the top. Yeah, now if you can't sleep your way to the top, you'll sue your way there. Sexual assault encounter number 3. What? Do you all hear this? Sexual assault encounter number 3. They don't say that him and her dating steady. It's she just keeps going back over there. Wouldn't you imagine this? Miss Lampro's dreams and everything she's been working hard for were in the palm of his hand. So what she say? Whiteness don't matter no more. One night in 1996, Mr. Combs ordered Miss Lampros to his Manhattan apartment. How do you order somebody who don't work for you? She's sitting at home. All she gotta do is just say, and if I don't, then what? This is where they claim that with the combination of alcohol and ecstasy, Miss Lampros recalls feeling lightheaded and lethargic after being forced to take ecstasy. Miss Combs then demanded Kim Porter to have sexual intercourse with Miss Lampros. So now they're bringing Kim Porter into it, and Kim can't speak up for herself. Kim can't speak up for herself, so don't worry, the Cassie crackheads will defend this too. Goes on here to say that Miss Lampros felt numb and at that moment and emotionally checked out. Emotionally, what that means is if you're recording it, you can see her getting down, but she's physically all the way there. She's physically XXX rated, but emotionally, I've emotionally checked out. Okay, well, as long as you physically checked in. Do you all see what a lawyer will do to go grab a bag? I want to know how you defend these words. How do you defend this? A few hours later, Miss Lampros recalls being woken up. By the way, here's the issue. Why does she have to get drunk and take ecstasy if P. Diddy can just order her to do anything he wants to? Why does he have to drug her? If he just says the word and she got to break it down, why does he have to drug her? She's talking about we were drinking and doing ecstasy, but wait a minute. I thought he was the great tranquilizer. I thought he'd just tell you what to do and you do it. So do you all see how this doesn't make sense? If he's just got you in a trance, then why does he need to drug you? Why does he have to give you anything? All you got to do is just tell you, break it down. And according to them, it ain't enough. A few hours later, damn! Miss Lampros recalls being woken up by Mr. Combs. Well, at least she didn't wake up naked this time, right? And told to leave the residence. Wait a minute. I thought he holds people hostage. It was just him and Kim. And he wants to hold you hostage so badly, he tells you, okay, you got to go. A few hours later. Now, folks, there's two ways of reading this. Oh, I'm going to go there. Scenario number one is this claptrap you just read. Scenario number two is that Diddy is rich. Diddy knows people. Diddy got free drugs. Diddy got free drink. She can exercise her whiteness and get all the damn benefits. And when she's laid out on the couch or on the bed or whatever, she's like, oh, good, I can just loaf and lounge and I can just sleep around for a little bit. And Diddy's like, hey, oh, you got to get up. No, this ain't the kicking spot. This is not the crash pad. You got to go. Get on. Like all the rest of the folk who come over. Hey, nigga, you been here too long. You got to go. Oh, but Diddy, I thought we was dipping together. Man, if you don't get on, I got Kim over here. Bye. She felt disgusted, ashamed, and embarrassed and couldn't believe what had happened. Yes, that's the way you always claim that she felt after every one of them. We are 3 encounters deep so far. Ladies, so how many of you have ever been so desperate for a job with a specific person that you just like, oh, well, sometimes I got to break it down for him. And now he done brought this woman in the room. Oh, well. I didn't do drugs before I met him. I didn't drink before I met him. I didn't sleep with other women before him. What the hell is it about this man? Well, he was respectful and he regained my trust. Did he regain your trust every time? Because you claimed that was the excuse after the first time. Was he regain your trust? He's done it the second time. Now he's done it the third. Is he going to just regain your trust a fourth time? In or about 1998, Ms. Lapros found the courage to end her relationship with Mr. Combs. She finally suffered enough. Really. Then she claims that he was the reason she got fired. However, this ending was one-sided. Mr. Combs and Miss Kim Porter weren't done with Miss Lampros. Kim Porter was very resentful of Miss Lampros. So she's resentful of the white girl, of course. She was resentful of Miss Lampros after she was forced to engage in sex acts with Miss Lampros. Now, think about that for a moment, y'all. They're saying that Kim Porter was resentful of this white chick who got kicked out the damn apartment the very previous day. Before then, well, a couple of years ago. Do you realize that? Do you see what they're saying? That Kim Porter, the woman who got it all, is jealous and resentful of this jump off? Do you realize what you have to believe to go along with this? You have to believe that Lampros had a more privileged position than Kim, really? She dined at Miss Lampros' place of employment, a bar named Sliver, which was in Soho. According to Miss Lampros, Miss Porter was enraged when she saw her. According to Miss Lampros, 2 days later, Miss Porter called her employer and complained to the manager, alleging that Miss Lampros attempted to poison her. What? Folks, no, I'm serious. This girl said that Kim Porter called her job and said, you know, your waitress tried to poison me. This is in the lawsuit, people. This is literally what the lawsuit says. She then stated that her boyfriend was Sean Combs and could have the business shut down if he did not immediately terminate Miss Lampros. Later that evening, the manager told her he had to let her go because Mr. Combs called and demanded that he fire her. People, this is 1998. We ain't even met Jennifer Lopez yet, I don't think. Biggie and Tupac are freshly dead. And they're literally telling you that P. Diddy can make a phone call to any bar in New York City and get a white woman, not even P. Diddy's girlfriend, completely unverified, by the way, because remember, you're claiming this was Kim on the phone. How did they know this was Kim? How did they know that this woman had how did they know this wasn't a crank call? So she was in, this woman, not the one you can see, the one you can't see, this woman's position with her employer was so solid that a random voice could say, hey, she tried to poison me. Y'all need to fire her. Oh, I got to fire you, April. But why? Because we got a random phone call this morning that you tried to poison one of our guests. And we don't know when they were in here. They didn't tell us they were in here. We don't know when they were. A random voice on the phone told us to fire you. So we got to do it. Folks, do you know New York's employment laws? Do you realize how many levels of disbelief you have to? What she's saying is P. Diddy doesn't run the city. She's saying that Diddy runs the government, that the police ain't going to help you. The EEOC isn't going to help you. The unemployment office isn't going to help you. That if Diddy says it, that's just it. Do you realize how Bugs Bunny cartoonish this is? That she's saying that in New York City, a place that won't get you kicked out of your apartment if you don't pay. And she's saying that so a random voice called and got her fired. So basically, employment protection applies to everybody unless Diddy is upset with you, in which case Diddy is going to circumvent the notoriously overprotective employment laws and regulations of New York City. Now, her lawyer literally put this in a lawsuit. And some of you Cassie crackheads sat up there and read hers and were right along with you. Oh, you look good right there. Look good. Let me hit this pipe. So everybody else in New York City, if this had there's not a single person listening to me right now that if this had happened to you in New York City, that this is the way it would have gone down. There isn't a single New Yorker anywhere who can tell you this is the way it would have gone down unless you actually did it. What? Well, unless you actually did try to poison one of their customers, well, yeah, that could happen. Yeah, you can get fired quick, fast, and in a hurry if that happens. But I'll be damned, there's not a single person in here in New York City that you working at your job that you would be scared if your employer told you a random voice called and said they were P. Diddy's girlfriend and I gotta fire you because a random voice told me that I gotta fire you. There's not a single person here who would think that in New York City. Especially in the late 90s. Miss Lampros believes that I would like to talk to the manager to find out what the real story is, because y'all know this don't add up. She's probably either the manager's dead or she's hoping they can't find him. Because if they do, I'd like to get his word on. By the way, what happened that she got released from your business? What really occurred? Did she just not show up? I'd like to find out the real story, because this right here, I'm like, yeah, I'm calling bull crap on this. Miss Lampros believes that Miss Porter got Miss Lampros fired in retaliation for what Mr. Combs made them do. According to Miss Lampros, her boss was afraid of Mr. Combs and his contacts and told her he had to do it or Mr. Combs could risk getting his business closed. People, New Yorkers, Los Angelinos, Miamians, Atlanteans, ATLians. Are any of you who are business owners, if you're in Atlanta, are you worried about Killer Mike or even T.I. making a phone call and your business getting closed? How the hell does that work? In New York City, your business gonna get closed? With as many beefs, with as many people as Sean Combs had, Please name for me one business that man ever got shut down. Ever. If he got pulled like that, somebody name for me one business Sean Combs ever got shut down. Ever. For those of you who don't live in New York City, would you ever be scared of your jobs? Ooh, P. Diddy called. He gonna get me fired. Oh, man, I'm in trouble. What's wrong? Diddy called. You don't know what happened? Diddy called this morning. It's a wrap for me. Diddy called this morning. It's a wrap for me. People, this is but you have to believe that because that's what the lawsuit is telling you. So that's what you're believing. Is that Diddy literally, he wasn't kidding on his rap songs. He literally runs New York City and nobody, not the police, not the mayor, not the governor, not John Gotti. Do you realize this lawsuit says that Diddy was over Gotti? Do y'all realize this? They're literally trying to tell you that Diddy had more pull and was more untouchable than John Gotti in New York City. He was bigger than the Italian mafia. I don't care how much of a Cassie ass kisser you are. At some point, when does 2 + 2 stop equaling 7 or 8 or 9 or it actually equals 4? Yeah, he's the capo to the copy. Boss of all bosses. No, you just thought it was Gotti. No. You were wrong. It was really Diddy. This was the guy who runs New York. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we got the mafia and everything, but whisper his name. It's like the kingpin of crime. You have to whisper his name. You can't say it out loud. Just understand. I mean, we got pull out here, but yeah, this is the guy who really runs the city. Not the mayor, not the cops. Nobody can help you. This is the guy who really, if you have a problem, this is the man who can help you out. And if you are a problem, this is the guy who can get you taken out. Not Gotti, not Sammy the Bull, not Vincent the Chin Gigante. No. Diddy runs the city. They were telling you. They were trying to inform you. Diddy runs the city. No one can help you. Folks, now we get down to the real issues. While in a relationship with Mr. Combs, doing sexual favors in a parking garage does not qualify as a relationship, ladies. I know some of you ladies are going to get real upset at what I just said. Doing sexual tricks in a parking lot does not qualify as a relationship. It doesn't. While in a relationship with Mr. Combs, Ms. Lampros was a student at FIT. That's that Fashion Institute thing. She had a passion for fashion. The lawyer got bars. And Mr. Combs knew this. Mr. Combs promised Ms. Lampros several working opportunities in the fashion and music industry, and the two often discussed his plans to launch his own clothing brand. Within months of Ms. Lampros ending their relationship, Mr. Combs launched Sean John. According to Mr. Lampros, now, folks, sexual assault encounter number 4. Number 4. Now, remember, didn't we just enter about 1998? Yo, woman got me fired from my job. 2 years later. People, how much disbelief do you got to suspend for this to be true? She's been done with him twice. He just kicked him out. She said, we threw out of here. Your wife got me fired from my job. 2 years later, she saw Mr. Combs at an event at Rockefeller Center in or about the end of 2000, towards the beginning of 2001. At the time, Ms. Lampros says Mr. Combs may have been filming a season of Making the Band. Isn't this amazing? Every time Diddy got something big going on, she shows up. Oh, I'm sorry. The Cassie crackheads will just say that just like Cassie, that's all coincidental. Every time Diddy got an event going on, she shows up and she documents the events and makes a claim. But it was never serious enough to go to the police. Okay. According to Ms. Lampros, when Mr. Combs saw her, he approached Ms. Lampros and asked the camera crew to turn off the cameras to not film their interaction. Bigger than Gotti. According to Ms. Lampros, Mr. Combs asked her how she was, expressed to her that he missed her, and asked if she would leave the event at Rockefeller Center with him. Ms. Lampros rejected Mr. Combs and left. Folks, I got a feeling this is about to sound familiar. According to Ms. Lampros, here it goes. Later that evening, he kept calling her and asking if she would come to his apartment on Park Avenue. But she said no. He even offered to send his driver to pick her up. Finally, he offered to come with the driver to pick her up. According to Ms. Lampros, Mr. Combs does not like the word no. He called back a few more times, so she stopped answering the phone. According to Ms. Lampros, a few days later, he called again, begging to see her. Will you all please get your pathology straight? Pick a version of Diddy and stick with it. Either he's the boss of all bosses, the capo to the copy. He says it, you do it. Or he's got to beg because he's powerless. Which one is it? Powerful people do not beg. You already said he can get you fired from your job. He can get you murked. He can get you disappeared. Now they're saying he had to beg her. People, at what point do you just start having enough sense in yourself to say, man, look here, the lawyer can tell lies. I ain't gonna go along with this garbage. At what point does this just become so outlandish that you say, yeah, I don't even know another story like this? According to Miss Lampros, a few days later, he called begging to see her, reluctantly and regrettably. She allowed him to come over to her apartment located at 477 Central Park West to hear what he had to say. Miss Lampros figured it was during the day and doubted that he would try to harm her. People, this is allegedly number 4. Okay, let me try this a different way. For some of you, this might not be working out for you, but let me try this a different way. If your daughter went over to a fella's house, and I mean, he just violently sexually assaulted her. I mean, hammer strikes, elbows, drop kicks. He's doing it all. Your daughter limps back home. She's crying. She's boo-hooing. She's scared to call the police. She calls you a couple of months later and tells you, yeah, I'm back over here at Diddy's house, Mom. I'll talk to you later. That's your child, people. What would you think? You're either going to re-examine your parenting or re-examine their mental state. Folks, if this were your daughter, and something like that happened, and she back over at Diddy house talking about, Mama, ain't nothing I can do. You don't understand. Diddy run the city. All my folks in New York City, if you got kids, I want to know how many of you in New York, your daughter could tell you, I ain't got no choice, Mama. I got to go. Don't you know Diddy run the city? You was up here and tell her, I'm about to run this damn belt over your ass. How many of you who are parents in New York City, that would be an acceptable response from your daughter? Mama, he violently raped me, but I got to go back because he just called me and Diddy run the city, Mama. You don't understand. Diddy run the city. I want to know how many of you are going to tell me, if you're going to sit up here and be one of these internet clowns passing around this article and trying to give this woman credibility, then you have to say that what I just said is accurate. That your daughter at the age of 21, 22, she go, Mama, I'm back over here at his place again. I'm back. Mama, he did it again. Baby, how many times does this make? 4. What happened? 4? I thought it was only 3. This last time, he came over to my place. Oh, he kicked the door in. Good. Call the police. No. I let him in. What? Yeah. He told me he was coming with his driver, and I told him the address, and I let him in. Yeah, the folks down the front desk, I told him, yeah, let him through. Yeah, when Diddy showed up, let him in. Girl, why? I was scared, mama. I was scared. Ain't nothing I can do. Diddy run the city? Diddy run the city, mama? Oh, mama, look, he's coming back now. I gotta go. Bye. There's nothing we can do, mama. Can we call the police? Can you lock the door? But, mama, I can't do it. Diddy run the city. Gotta get this record deal. Diddy run the city, mama. Now, that's what you have to be arguing if you're going to try to defend her or Cassie or anybody else. You got to defend. By the way, yeah, you all know that your 6-year-old child would have more sense than to sit up here and go back someplace where somebody was harming them. But what you're telling us is that, I'm back over here again, mama. What's all that noise behind you? Oh, Diddy's holding the party. Diddy? How many times has that man raped you now? Oh, mama, 8, 9, 10, I can't remember. It's been so many. And you back over there. Yep. Now, y'all know what y'all will say. Don't call my ass crying. Whatever he do, don't call me crying. All the Cassie crackheads, you got a lot of explaining to do. According to Ms. Lampros, Mr. Combs began apologizing for his past behaviors. Damn! We own this again. I'd like to know what he was saying during these apologies to get her to give him a pass for rape. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, 4 times and counting. We got a running count. Ladies, I want to know how you... Tell me what part of femininity this is. Tell me what part of the feminine psyche this is. When I open up the phone lines, I want some females to call me up and explain to me, well, Jason, you got to understand, just because you rape me, don't mean I got to hold a grudge. Yes, just because you violently raped me and left me sore and all this, that don't mean that I got to hold a grudge about it. He then showered her. He started telling her that he was a changed man. He then showered her with compliments, telling her how good she looked and kept reminiscing about their prior sex life. Okay, if their sex life consisted of unpleasant experiences and sexual assault, wouldn't that be a negative if he brings it up? Why would she be enticed by that? Shouldn't it be, oh hell, here we go? He then began dropping hints about them having sex. Miss Lampros rejected his advances. Suddenly, out of nowhere, Mr. Combs violently grabbed her. Okay, so he's gone from begging to violent. They can't figure out which version of Diddy they want to go with. He violently grabbed her and forced himself onto her. He began kissing her and touching her against his will. At that point, Miss Lampros fought him off after she quickly realized it was a big mistake to have allowed him to visit her. She told him to leave as she felt that he was just wanted to use her for sex. Use her for sex. Now, isn't this interesting phraseology? He just wanted to use her for sex. You didn't say that he just wants to rape you again? You just want to use me for sex. Well, yeah, I mean, that's what's been going on is you just serve sexual needs. You don't have any talent beyond that. You couldn't keep your job in a bar. Yeah, men use you for sex. And now 3 decades later, she's slithered from under a rock to tell you that she's upset because you men keep using me for sex. Yeah, now she's lining up with what I've been saying the whole damn time. That's her beef. Hey, when I was young And before the crow's feet and the laugh line set in and I started looking like not even as good as J-Lo, Diddy could have did something for me and he didn't. Just like Bill Cosby ran through all them chicks and didn't do nothing for him except keep running through them. Now here she comes back 3 decades later and she's like, I'll be damned. My life ain't never popped off. Whiteness ain't never worked out for me. I used to be rolling with Diddy. I'd like to see who the dude is she's rolling with now. I bet you it's not even going to be as good as Alex Fine. To the fellas supporting these things and defending these things, I know full well you identify with your slutty ass hood rat mama. But at some point, you got to recognize, man, you just don't get it. Too many men today just don't get it because they don't want to get it. She told him to leave as she felt that he just wanted to use her for sex and hadn't changed at all. Even more disgusting was the fact that Ms. Lampros knew that Mr. Combs was involved in a very public relationship with Jennifer Lopez. Now they're just trying to smear him. According to several media reports from the time, Mr. Combs ended his relationship with Jennifer Lopez due to infidelity in February 2001. Does this even matter? No. This was around the same time Mr. Combs sexually assaulted Ms. Lampros. Luckily for Ms. Lampros, the couch was right near the door of the apartment, so it was easy for her to reach for the door, open it, and demand for him to leave. She ensured that his security could hear her telling him to exit. She was afraid that Mr. Combs would have raped her, as he does not take no for an answer and had a history of violently handling her and forcing her to perform oral on him. Miss Lampros is in possession of several of Mr. Combs' phone numbers throughout the years. She was a group. This doesn't sound like a victim. This sounds like a groupie who was doing what groupies do and just collecting everything. If we check her cell phone records, do you all think that we're going to find a huge number of phone calls that she made to him? Now, there's the question you have to ask. By the way, if Diddy's doing stuff against her will, then we shouldn't see a single phone call from her to him. They should all be outgoing numbers from him to her. Right? Well, that's the only logical explanation. Right? Now, she says that according to Ms. Lampros, in or around 2023, Ms. Lampros was at a function and a gentleman informed the man Ms. Lampros was dating that he should reconsider dating her because he personally saw a video of her and Sean Combs having sex. According to Ms. Lampros, redacted shared that he saw the tape during the summer of 1997. According to Mr. Lampros, she was told that Mr. Combs apparently recorded them having sex without her knowing and showed it to multiple people. Oh, snap diggity. Now, this says according to Mr. Lampros. Now, this could be another dumb lawyer who didn't get this correct and they meant Miss Lampros. But they said the man she was with. So if she's gotten married, I'm just like, she's pulling the Alex Fine. She's just like, hey, she's pulling the Cassie with Alex Fine. People, this is exactly the same with Cassie. Exactly the same thing. And at what point do you stop being gullible and stupid is the only thing I've been saying. I mean, you might want to be silly and stupid. Okay, I understand. But at what point, how much of this do you have to excuse and write off and dismiss? How much of this do you have to dismiss? Before you start looking hella crazy? How much of this do you have to disregard before you start sounding hella crazy? Now, I do have a few words here about the fact that the fellas don't get it. And yes, I want to specifically reference Cassie. I do want to specifically reference that because I want to address that for a few moments here, because a pattern has formed. And after that, we're going to open the phone lines. I'm not going to ask how many of you believe it. I'm not going to ask that. I'm not going to go into that. What I am going to say is, at what point do you have to dismiss so much that it doesn't make any sense? At what point do you have to dismiss so much that it makes absolutely no sense? Let's discuss Cassie. Let's discuss Cassie and the alleged video here. For those of you who've seen it, that's fine. By the way, there's a number of things that are just not right with that video. Number of things that are just dead on not right. You all know that for most videos of violence and whatnot like that, Facebook and Twitter and YouTube, they put censors on it, remember? Most of that stuff, they put censors on it. It's age restricted. Have y'all noticed that Diddy's video has been allowed to run wild? That video of him with Cassie, why these internet websites that usually they age restrict my damn videos here on the business, and ain't nobody fighting. And yet with this video of Diddy, all these websites have given it a pass. It's not being filtered. It's not being censored. It's not being blocked. You're not being warned. How many of y'all call on to that? Because I caught that from the very beginning. Yeah, a bunch of you are putting 2 plus 2 together now and say, yeah, hey, by the way, usually with videos of fighting and stuff like that, oh man, usually they block those and censor them and tell you, oh, this is adult content, mature, disturbing content. Not for this. They want to make sure everybody sees this. While they've removed all the censors, you go find it, bam, you just get it served up. Oh, nothing like what they usually do. Oh, so Diddy don't run the city, is what you're trying to tell me. Diddy don't run the city. Oh, okay. All right. The Diddy run the city people are looking hella stupid right now. All right. But let me go ahead and discuss that video. Let me go ahead and talk about that, because there are a couple of things in particular I want to ask you all. For the people just dogged and determined to believe it, to go along with the narrative no matter what it is. And once again, I am no friend of Diddy. I've got a 30-year track record of criticizing him. I'm not talking about him right now. I'm talking about men who don't get it. I want to ask you all a question. If Cassie were a man making these exact same allegations, if Cassie were a man that you saw on that videotape, would you still be defending her? What? No, let's go ahead and get real for a second. If that was a man on that video, you saw that video and you saw him walk down the hallway. By the way, the alleged security that always holds people hostage, nobody could find them that day. Isn't that interesting? Cassie made it to the elevator. She made it to the phone. She made it just fine. But if you read her lawsuit and you saw that Cassie was a man, and that man told you that he had been there with Diddy's freak-offs, and freak-off Diddy is beating on him and whacking on him and knocked him on the ground and kicked him, and he told you when we got back to New York, I had to stick by Diddy because Diddy run the city. If this were a man, how many of you would be defending that? How many of you would have any patience for what he's got to say? How many of you would have looked at that video and then still had patience and sympathy after reading this lawsuit? You would have been like, man, that was 3 years before y'all broke up. If you take your ass back to New York with him, you want an ass whooping. Yeah, Yimmy, y'all been in Israel. I gotta remind y'all, by the way, these folks lie so much, and the problem with the internet is that you've got a bunch of emotionally retarded, damaged individuals. They hate their fathers, they don't really get along with their moms, they despise people, and they'll just go along with any lie. If they're jealous of celebrities they don't know and never met, hell, they're jealous of YouTubers they don't know and never met. And then when you see things that are absolutely impossible, stupid, they go along with it anyway because I'm hating. But by the way, all this time you were told about P. Diddy's security and how security, he always got goons around him. Now remember that video of Cassie was 2016. This is well after Jennifer Lopez, well within the Diddy run the city years, well within Diddy is a billionaire, well within Ciroc. And yet, when you finally do have a video of Diddy with a female, it's just him and just her. Nova Bow correct. Diddy was the goon. They always say he has a squad of goons. And yet when you actually get some proof, it ain't nothing like that. It was just him and just her. And that was it. She did something in that room that upset him terribly. He's coming out with his damn bath towel on. He's just that upset. So something happened. And then next thing you know, they going at it. He goes back to his room and she could have left. She still don't leave. The real issue here is that what we need to understand is most men don't get it. Most fellas today are so desperate for some sex that if females, that their sexual strategy is kissing females' asses, even if what they are saying is against their own best interests and their own survival. You got a bunch of fellas out here who are willing to kill or die to get a female to look in their direction, to even acknowledge their existence. People OnlyFans is popping. Or at least it was popping. And it's powered by what? A bunch of married men. A bunch of married men who obviously the sex that they married on the assumption that they would get all the sex they can handle. They're married and can't get nothing. And a bunch of single simps in the same damn boat. And have they divorced themselves of their phony, idiotic notions? Nope, they're just doubling down. Oh, well, if the female changes, here we go. He's sitting there, he's angry and frustrated. He's mad at Diddy. He's not angry with the female he's with. He give her a pass. The real problem is Diddy. And by the way, these simp ass niggas never had any of that kind of smoke for Solange. Cardi B, I mean, we got Solange on video attacking somebody. No, nothing for her. Okay, by the way, neither for the media. Media had nothing to say. Thought that was very interesting. Media had nothing to say. Oh, everybody was talking about what Jay-Z do? What did he do to get that? To you ass-kissing simps out there, by the way, you just don't get it. You think you throwing Diddy under the bus. That's the problem with simps and clowns. They think they throwing Diddy under the bus. They think these females, if I throw you other niggas under the bus, they're like me. If I throw you other niggas, if I show them I ain't like you, the females, they'll be the pad of my damn door. Let's just cut past the bull jive, shall we? Let's just get something straight. If Diddy were the guy working the grill down there at Burger King, would Cassie and the rest of these hoes be on his ass? Did you just say hoes? I damn sure did.
And deal with it, nigga.
Would Cassie be on his ass if that was the case? Come on now. Would these females be saving his draws for 20 years with his DNA on it if he was working at Subway? Would these females even think to call a lawyer if this dude was working at Circle K? That's why you don't hear nothing about the other niggas who worked the Bad Boys and got signed to Bad Boys. If they was broke, it's like the other females like, oh, never mind. But by the way, if Diddy was broke, if Diddy was just the average dude, would this be, you seriously think this would be happening? There's not a single person who thinks that would be happening. Not at all. And that's the point I want you to understand. I want you to understand a couple of things here. While other people are out there, they say stupid things, they're not going to stand by it. They don't mind looking stupid. But for those of you who don't you all realize that, by the way, it kind of just seems that only the rich and successful men who actually affect these women way more than a couple of days. And that's why the red pill exists. Men didn't like how women can drop you on a dime and just jump onto the next man with no remorse and no lingering feelings. And clearly now I think you all see that, oh, that's reserved for the average male. The regular guy, you're the one that happens to. That don't happen to a fella who can take you to the Met Gala and can take you to the Oscars and can take you to the Grammys. That don't happen to him. That don't happen to a fella who can step out of Bentley and everybody knows who he is. That doesn't happen to him. No, that only happens to the rest of us. I'm going to include me in the us. That only happens to the rest of us. That only happens to the average male. If you're rich and famous and iconic, then women will never get over you, even if she's the one who broke things off. But by the way, yeah, she's going to hold a grudge. But for you fellas who are irrelevant, she ain't, I don't even remember you. Yeah. So what does that tell you, fellas? That tells you that ladies, I got to read the mail. What that tells you is that most women, to Rolo and the red pill, y'all are wrong on so much, and you don't understand how actual psychology and power dynamics works. Fellas, the reason why she can get over you that easily is because you're not the one she really wants. The guy she sees herself with is pushing $200,000, $400,000 cars. He's got a luxury penthouse. He's got platinum credit cards and black cards. She's just with you because she doesn't want to be alone. But in reality, she's lying to you. And you just don't get it. In the back of her head, she waiting for one of these NBA players or Diddy or somebody to show up in her DMs and finally confirm that she's as great and fly as she always knew she was. Until then, she'll let your ass tag along. Fellas, the reality is, the reason they can exercise hypergamy, break up your relationship, break up your marriage, they're not really with you. They're not really with you, and they know that you're so desperate that you don't think critically. Hell, you were a simp when she met you. And the fella she really waiting on, let me tell y'all, she'll do anything to be with him. That's why it's so stupid for guys to be talking about what they would do for females. Fellas, if the female really wants you, she talking about what she gonna do for you. And she will do anything. Don't y'all see the same story over and over again? Every female that Diddy gets with, allegedly, they can do drugs, they can drink, they'll touch on girls, they'll touch on other guys. They are just wide open. They're wide open. And you fellas just don't get it. Well, Jason, Little dumb ass, moist, soggy mama's boy with the carrot top haircut. You sure you want to try this? You always be name calling, but I got your ass this time, Jason. I got your ass this time. Let me talk. I got him now, y'all. That's the problem. He don't want somebody real talking to him. Let me explain to you. I got you. See, the issue is, Jason, you didn't see it. He was giving her the DDT in the middle of that flow. And Cassie was worried and scared, and it was terrible, and you sitting here defending it. You sitting here talking like she was okay with that. Just because she stayed around for 10 years, and the other one stayed around for a decade too. And just because they all stick around for 10 years, you be acting like they be liking that. Why would a woman agree to be subjected to that kind of treatment, Jason? Is this nigga done? All right. Everyone, let me say something to you right now. I'm not even going to give you the controversial disclaimer. I'm going to just give it to you straight. Women love a dangerous man.
And deal with it, nigga.
Well, it's true. If ain't nobody else going to say it, I'll go ahead and be the one to tell the damn truth. Women love a dangerous man. They always have, and they always will. Women love a dangerous man that is exciting to them. Well, it's true. Well, it is. You can hate the truth. 2 + 2 = 4, even if you don't like 4. Well, it's true. Dangerous men have never had a problem getting female attention. Famous dangerous men have never had that issue. Oh, I'm going to go all the way there. You want me to tell you about females and dangerous men? You all know that every serial killer... What? Every serial killer has always had a very big, very rampant, and very loyal female fan base. Yeah, I said it. I ain't even got to get to the passion part of it, Douglas. We're going to circle back around to that. But I just want to talk about somebody she has no reason to feel that of. And by the way, y'all can't name a single serial killer that didn't have a very rabid fan base of female groupies. Not just 1 or 2. Now I'm going to take it a little bit further. Y'all don't know. Y'all got all these damn prison websites. Oh, ladies, I got to read your mail. And you know, most of the females here, they ain't going to admit it. They all going to say it wasn't me. Wish we could check that IP address history backwards. It wasn't me. These fellas in prison, sitting up here, putting out their pictures. And these chicks, them fellas, he behind bars. He behind bars. She ain't never seen him in person. He's behind bars. And she's on your Facebook talking about my man. Talking about that dude. Talking about he all right. Oh, let's cut past the bull jive. See, this is the part that the rest of these folks ain't gonna bring to light and just remind you of. Since when have women had a problem with a dangerous man? Since when has that been the case? Much less a dangerous rich one. When has that been an issue? Since when did that become a problem? A dangerous rich man. Since when did women start having issues with them? Folks, we can go back way before this. The Italian Mafia, Peter Gunn, Bonnie and Clyde. We can go way back before this. Since when? Y'all gonna let them tell you that lie? Since when have women had a problem with a dangerous man? A dangerous man, let me explain to you something. A dangerous man is exciting, but not for the reasons that most of you fellas think. You got to understand, men and women might use the same words, but we don't mean the same thing. This is why it's got to be dissected for you. When men say loyalty and women say loyalty, we're talking about two separate things. Men mean allegiance. A woman means reliability. And you can be reliable for something without having allegiance to it. Well, guess what? When you say exciting, you don't mean the same thing that a woman means. I want you to understand that man has got to bark at everybody, including her. The woman she believes it's an act if you don't. Oh, the fellas ain't gonna like this, and the females are sitting over there nodding their heads, quiet as kept, but it's the truth. If the only people you bark at is the rest of the world, and she does something you don't like, she's crossed the line, the rest of the world hasn't. She's sitting up here telling you, well, I want to be able to break rules. No. The man is the one who gets to break the rules, not you. If you bark at everybody else and you don't bark at her, she's like, oh, you fake. Oh, I don't have to believe you. You're fake. You're phony. You're a fraud. So that's the reason why she's going to keep pushing buttons. And in their case, and the other side of that is if her pushing the buttons doesn't get a reaction out of him, then that shows her, oh, you're done. But when women talk about a dangerous man, number one, it's got to be real. It can't be an act or a facade. Otherwise, she keeps looking for the real thing. And number two, that is exciting. It is exciting to them. It's exciting for them to push your buttons, especially if you rich and so let me see if I can push these buttons here. The last thing she wants is for him to be indifferent. That's exciting. They're the 5-star place and whatnot like that, and she's the center of his damn attention. Let me tell y'all, if his attention was on something else, she's like, I know what to do to get his attention on me. Yeah, fellas, that sounds like a bunch of females you know now, doesn't it? He's not paying me enough attention. Let me mess with him. Oh, look, this is important to him here. Let me go play one of his platinum records. Oh, we're at this hotel. I think he's trying to talk to another chick. Let me get him off of that. A person don't stick around for 10 years for something that they're not okay with. In the chat room, I look here, you can call it whatever you want to. That is female nature. That's female psychology. That is female nature. If you can't be Conan the damn barbarian with carrying around the barbarian club, she is not as excited about you. Well, she isn't. Well, she's not. Fellas, you spend all this time talking about how you hate having females around. They want to argue with you all the time. They want to argue with you. I showed you online. They want to argue all the time and argue all the time. Okay, what makes you think that? Then we sit up here and tell you that Cassie was doing that. Then you sit up here and say, oh, no, that ain't what it is. Cassie was a good old saint. No, she wasn't. You can't be around Diddy if you are. You're talking about this is how women treat you in your life and you ain't Diddy. They can't be around Diddy if they can't do that. No. Come on, fellas. They live in that club life. They live in that drug life. You telling me all these chicks around Diddy, they live in that club life, they live in that drug life, they drinking, they doing ecstasy, they sleeping with women and men, they sitting up here getting in fights with folk at the clubs, and you mean to tell me that she ain't down to fight him when she gets home? Okay, so they only fight at the clubs, and they're only fighting other women or other men at the club. So they fighting everybody everywhere else. That's all right though. So living that club, drinking, drugging, fighting life, that's only at the club. When they get home, she's Susie Homemaker. She's Betty Crocker. No, that was just a deviation. Do you realize how off base you have to be to sit up here and dismiss all of that? Do you realize how much you have to sit up here and ignore? And what I'm saying is that unfortunately, most males today in our society, they are just so dried out, desperate for female attention of any kind that they'll just go along with anything, man. They'll just go along with anything. If they see the females breaking to the left, they all start breaking to the left with them. Y'all other niggas crazy. The girls went left. We need to go with that because we need to make them feel good. Just understand, they're just desperate. Women know this. Fellas out here who do all this ass kissing and pandering online, they're doing it in the desperate hopes that there's a female who will read their comment and show up in their DMs and say, "Oh, you're one of the good ones. You're one of the good ones." That's what these fellas are thinking. Fellas, you don't get it. If that's you, and you know it is, you don't get it. That doesn't work. These women don't respect you. They don't. And they never will because you're so cowardly, there's nothing to respect. I want to ask you fellas a question. You take a look at the comment on your screen right now. If you stepped away from your computers, step away from your cell phones, whatever the case may be, I want you to go ahead and take a look at what you see on your screen here right now. This is the comment that I showed you from the woman here earlier who said that ain't no good men out there. Talking about defending Tia Mowry, divorcing her, quote, good husband. This woman said, ain't no good men out there. I want you to ask yourselves a question. Do you think that she is an outlier, or do you think that she speaks for the majority of female society today and how they really feel? Ain't no good men. So tell me, if you think that's how they really feel, what the hell do you think ass kissing is going to get for you? What do you think you're going to get with that? I think a lot of fellas think that these are the exception to the rule. And I'm telling you, no, that's not. That's a lie you tell yourself. You've been put into a trick bag because you told yourself, well, if I kiss enough ass, I'll get some more ass. And that's not the way it works. And you can be as mad and angry and resentful and everything else as you wish to be with Diddy. But the bottom line is, when you put drive plus a plan plus extraordinary results equals loyalty and damn near allegiance. You get loyalty and damn near get allegiance. While the fellas over here with their simp tactics, it's like, dude, that's not gonna work. That is simply not going to work. Women don't actually mean these things that they're telling you. When she meets you, she wants a nice guy. But here's the issue, fellas. How do women define, quote, nice? Oh, he does what I tell him to. Now you see what they're saying about the nice guys and the good guys. What they're saying is they don't trust you. They don't trust you. That's what they're telling you. They're not even being coy about it anymore. They're just outright saying, yeah, I don't trust you. I don't trust you. Damn sure don't respect you. Fellas, they don't mean those things. No, the fellas are taking this situation with Cassie far more seriously than the females are. Jason, are you going to do it? Oh, I'm damn sure going to do it. I'm damn sure going to do it. Need I remind you? And I'm not telling you what somebody told me. Need I remind you? This is the way this kind of thing here breaks down. I sat up here and said the things that they weren't saying and the other folks weren't asking. But I wasn't afraid to ask it. If you'll all remember, just a few days ago, I put this poll up. Just a few days ago, I put this poll up asking, let's get down to the nitty gritty. I put up a poll asking, hey, if a rapper or athlete offered the average female listening on YouTube right now, if he offered her $5 million, she gets $5 million a year worth of benefits. Cars, money, clothes, fame, nights at the opera, the gala, every damn thing else. She gets the style and profile on Instagram. She get to do it all. Baby, here's the keys to the G-Wagon and everything else. How many of you people would put your life on the line? The gun is at your head. I'm ready to pull the trigger. If this woman says yes, you die. If she says no, I'm not going to accept it, you live. So what's it going to be? How many of you would let me put the gun to your head and say, that chick over there, that random female on YouTube, Diddy going to offer her $5 million a year to be his girlfriend? If she says no, you live. But if she accepts his offer, you die. How many people are willing to put their lives on the line and to say, yeah, Jason, these women's is all good. You be giving them a bad rap. These females ain't really like that. How many of you in here would be willing to bet your life that the average female, including these sloppy hoes over here on Facebook, talking all this trash, how many of them are you willing to bet your life that she would say no if Diddy gave her the offer to get that, take that slap? Need I remind you all, during the pandemic, do you remember those memes and those polls that used to get passed around during the pandemic? Everybody's money was a little bit funny. During the pandemic, remember they used to pass those things around? If I saw one, I saw a dozen of them. Would you get punched in the face by Mike Tyson for $1 million? Would you punch your mama in the face for $5 million? I remember one person said, they say, hey, mama, you want $5 million? If mama says yes, bop. Do y'all remember that? Do y'all remember during the pandemic, you used to see folks posting that stuff? You used to see a bunch of those things running around. And the overwhelming, everybody was sitting up talking about how, hell yeah, I'd take a shot to the face, including the females. What? Oh, the ladies were front and center. The ladies was like, man, look here, these niggas think we fragile. What the hell he talking about? I'm about to get this bag. You sit over there being fragile. I'm going to get this bag. That wasn't a joke. These folks play games about that, but that wasn't no joke, man. They know what the hell they're talking about. When they saying, look here, if the bag is right, let's see what we can do if the bag's right. They sit here and tell you what they won't do. They sit here and tell you what they're not going to have. They sit here and say that to you, but in reality, they're making a value judgment about you. Because it's not a real thing if you say it. But for the folks who it is a real thing, they're like, okay, well, let me give that a try. And the disgusting part is the fellows who think that they're raising their stock by sitting up here supporting these chicks, and these chicks don't give a damn about you. They don't give a damn. But you're so pathetic that you've told yourself, well, if I go along with it, the rest of you fellas trying to go against the grain. I'm smarter than that. I'm going to go along with what they say right there, just squeak away at the door here. I bet you this here work. And you're sitting there trying to convince yourself that that's a strategy. Meanwhile, every bit of evidence tells you it's not. Everything is telling you this is not a strategy, but they're going for it anyway. Never mind. That's completely out of touch reality. Just never mind that. Most men today just don't get it. They just don't get it. However, you might disagree. Therefore, here, having some issues with the phone lines again here. I'm going to have to find I'm going to start looking for an alternative to Blog Talk because I don't know what has been going on with them, but just ever since last year, they're just not being on like they should be. I'm going to go ahead and post the Zoom link. If you want to join us over Zoom, let me go ahead and throw that up for you. All right, the link for Zoom is pinned to the top of the chat there. Like I say, I'm not really sure what's going on with the phone lines. They're doing it again, but we're going to have to do something about that. In any case, to the fellas out there who just don't get it, you can be upset. You can be mad. You can be every damn thing else. These hoes ain't loyal and these chicks ain't fragile. And these chicks are letting you know, by the way, we don't even think nothing of you. There are no good men. And yet somebody makes a straight allegation and you telling yourself, that's the problem. Diddy been running around with all them fly females and stuff like that. Why he get to do that and I don't? He just bad. Let me show everybody. It ain't like that. And the females never believe you. Hey, fellas, when you make an accusation against a woman, the women never believe you. They never believe you. They never go along with it. They never sit up here and post it. It's never, hey, we believe all fellas. You don't get no backup. You don't get any backup. None. Just as soon as you see three females say something, ooh, what'd they say? Desperate. Whatever y'all say, ladies. And it turns into that. And it's pathetic. And it's weak. You know why? Because you are sitting up here fighting harder to kiss their asses for something than they are. You working harder at it than they are. Let's try this a different way. The women are looking for the man who's going to stand on business, not stand on bull crap. That's the issue. They're looking for the fella who's like, hey, you ain't no pushover and you ain't no idiot. That's what they're looking for. And as soon as you sit up here and fold, she's done. If you actually stood for reality, because she knows what she's saying is outlandish. To say something like this is crazy. She's just looking to see if you're going to go along with it. Oh, you're another pushover. Oh, you just want some draws. Yeah. And then they just rag you out. Then you yet another sap simp walking like, you chick be running through you. They do you wrong, Jaden. They do you wrong. We're going to go ahead and get over here on Zoom. Just remember on Zoom, please make sure you have your camera and your microphone turned on for us here. Otherwise, permanent vacation. We're going to go ahead and see if we can get our first Zoom caller up here. Hopefully, we've enlightened you all tonight about this. We're going to go ahead and try this one time here. Hakeem, go ahead and you've turned your microphone off and you don't have your camera on. You got 5 seconds to have them on or permanent vacation. So I don't know why they'd even think to try that. All right, Hakeem, last try, sir. You said you're on here and yet you've turned your camera and your microphone off for us. I don't know what in the world you think is going to happen. All right, Hakeem the Dream will not be joining us for the rest of his life. To the fellas out there, the reason why I'm doing a nice program here is about men just don't get it is because the females already get it. There isn't a woman in America, there's not a woman on the planet who doesn't know what Cassie is doing and all the rest of them. And you know what? They're backing them, but they're backing them for the same reason. They know what happened. They know full well Diddy rode him hard and put him away wet, and when he was done with him, he sandbagged him. And every woman in here's got some similar story of some dude she was really into. And so they see it as helping they're vicariously helping these women get even. That's right, girl, I helped you get them. Because vicariously they're saying to themselves, oh, this is payback on all the other men. This is payback on all you other men. We couldn't get you, but we gonna get Diddy. So we get to vicariously lynch the rest of you through Diddy for all you fellas who sat up here and hit us with the one night stand and the jump off. And I thought I was really fly and really sexy, but I really wasn't. And when you got done with me, it's like, wow, you treated me like women treat men. You just sat up here and, all right, baby, we done. We're done? Yeah, we done. Oh, you can't do that. So now it's okay. Don't you understand when they're doing that? Don't you understand when they're doing that? Let me go ahead and get over here on Zoom. I got Prince out of Richmond on Zoom. Let me go ahead and get him up here. All right, Prince, what's on your mind, brother?
Jason, they taking a page out of the Dumbest Society playbook. It's I'm a hoe and I say so. So whatever they come up with, whatever rules they decide, brother. Well, good afternoon, brother. I do apologize. It's good talking to you. They just coming up with the rules, and these guys, these simps or thirsty guys, they're just going with whatever for just to be close to a warm hole. Okay, Jason, when I was in college, I went after the military. So I grew up, I grew up in Fifth Ward. You grew up in the hood. You understand. So we've seen pimps before. So we've seen women interact with men. We've seen different scenarios of situations. And I was taking a class, Violence Against Women. I said, I'm gonna take this class to see what it's about. And the professor said it was over 100, and it may have been one guy in there, about 170 women in this class. And one day she said, well, every interaction a man does with a woman, this is back in the 90s now, this is the early 90s. She said, every interaction that a man has that's abusive is always a man's fault, whatever violence in a relationship, whatever it is. I didn't know what feminism was then. And I said, in that class, I said, for some women, if a man don't beat on her, she don't think he love her. Now I want y'all to listen to what I'm saying. The professor went off. She went off. She's a stud, you know what I'm saying? And she went off. No, she said, you can't say that. I said, well, just tell me one thing. Am I lying? Tell me why I lied. And she got quiet and moved on to something else. About 5 or 6 of those girls after class come trying to talk to me and be nice to me. I didn't make the connection then. A couple of them wanted to have sex with me. The biracial girl that I used to deal with that was mad at me, she wasn't mad at me no more. She was in the class. They like the bad boys. They like to hear this dangerous threat type of talk, Jason. Now, Jason, dealing with the situation that you're talking about here, I got a question to ask you, brother. Dealing with Bill Clinton, he was more powerful than Bill Clinton because Bill Clinton, didn't he get sequestered? Didn't he have to go and give a statement? And they said the statement wasn't going to be released, but it was. So what is this about women? I know they collect things for men. They're collecting our DNA now, Jason.
Oh yeah, this is the new norm. I want fellas to understand this, and not for celebrity males. Fellas, what? Here is the new warning standard for you. This is the new hazard. Are you doing better financially than she is? That's it. If you are doing better financially than she is, you are subject to some type of action. Even if she can get in trouble over it, she's going to go for it first. She's going to give it a try. Because she is expecting that even if it turns out badly, hell, the courts and the police will still be lenient on her. She's expecting to get a pass no matter what, even if it's found out that she's just blatantly lying. She is expecting to get a pass. So fellas, the standard is not, are you a Hollywood celebrity? Listen to me. The standard today is, are you doing better financially than she is? It is rough as hell out there. Inflation is on the march. These women are not trying to figure out how to do overtime. They are not trying to figure out how to work 70 hours a week. They're not trying to do that. They're trying to find a man to take that load off of them. And if one will not volunteer, then you will be voluntook. That's what it's going to be. And they're serious about it.
So you saying basically, and in most cases, men are doing better than women. So you're saying even a working class man, is it? Hey, Jason, what about us on these pensions? We ain't in danger, are we?
I mean, I guess it depends, Prince. I mean, you could find yourself in a badass situation. I guess it just depends. I don't know in the military if they make you do that and whatnot. Like if it's only for the hoes on child support when you're married to them, it's just everybody get a shot at you. I don't know. I don't know if your pensions are subject to that.
Well, let me explain. My ex taught me a lot. I can't say she was a dumb woman. She was not. She wasn't wise, but she wasn't a dumb. She went and tried to touch my retirement. She went through the state. Now, you hear what I'm saying? And had the state on her behalf contact the federal government. And they said there was nothing they could do. I had this stuff before I was with her, but they had to send a statement to them. They advocating for her. I'm talking about the county, not the lawyers, the county office. So yeah. I'm gonna tell you what they could do. They could take your whole check. If you're not careful in situations. What do I mean? If she said in any way she can say that we put ourselves out as husband and wife. If I'm walking around calling this woman wifey, I'm just trying to tell you guys, she could say she needs a certain amount or she needs all of my check. and they'll give it to you if you're not careful. That's on a certain, but you would have to sign it over. You'd have to be an idiot. Hopefully there's nobody that's an idiot out here.
Well, hold on. Let me make sure about that, because I've got one line of thought about that, but then again, I've never been. Let me make sure, because I know that it's supposed to work a certain way for that. Folks, sidebar right quick, because if that's true, I got to update the files on that.
Okay,
so
well,
you're telling me is that she could have touched your pension? Are you saying that there's a circumstance under which she could have? Because I always thought that pensions, like in bankruptcy, pensions are off limits.
Well, let me explain. Okay, number one, if you physically retire from the military, and if you've been with a woman 20 years and you were in the military 20 years and that overlapped, she gets half of your retirement. If she accused you of beating on her, she only have to be with you for 10 years. Okay? So that's full military, like you do 20 years or more in the military. For the other pension with the VA compensation, let me tell you something. I know the law. And I'm telling you, if you are married to her, she locked you into a marriage, or she say y'all married, because you don't have to be married for them to get half your stuff. They just have to have proof that you put her out and said, this was my wife. People don't know that. She could get half, or all of your pension. If you're paying child support and you're doing what you're supposed to do with the state, she can go to the federal government and ask for the same money or more. And put you in a situation that you won't be able to pay your child support with the state, but the federal government say that ain't got nothing to do with us. I'm listening, Jason.
Okay, but what if you meet them like after retirement?
Oh, if you meet them after retirement, they can't touch anything. Like in my situation, they
I'm about to say, what the hell Prince worry about? He's warning everybody else. He's not warning you. I'm
telling you, what it's the manipulation that they'll do. If you allow a woman to get you in any document and they say there's a need, what I'm saying is, if they say that there's a need, that she's your wife in some type of way, that if they say there's a need, they can do what they call an apportionment. That really doesn't really happen much, but you would have to be a straight up idiot as a dude to be in a situation where you agree to something like that. You would have to agree. You can fight that, but they can try. That's all I'm saying.
Right, that's what I was thinking there, because I mean, if you were saying, what about you old dudes who got your pensions? I'm like, if you got it already, I don't think there's a mechanism for doing that. Although I would never put anything past them. There may be an end run. I know, like, for example, I know bankruptcy. I figured if you're protected through bankruptcy, that's going to be a hard hurdle to climb. So if you do meet somebody later, I don't think you're vulnerable, but I don't want to tell you you're guaranteed.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I don't want to tell people that I don't want to tell people they're getting the pension. Oh yeah, you safe. Can't nobody do nothing to you. I don't want to say that, like they say, if they meet somebody now, not before they retired. But like, for you cats who are retired, I don't think there is one, but I wouldn't put it past them that there's one lingering out there somewhere. But I wouldn't imagine it's easy to do.
Let me clarify. One point I didn't make is dealing mostly with children. So if you have a child that they could try to fight to divide out, if you don't agree, they can't touch it. You don't agree, they cannot touch it. But a lot of guys will go in there and agree to things and then find out later, hey, I didn't have to agree to that. Well, they can't touch it, but now they can.
Okay, what about the guy last chick called in last week, says she's talking to the military dude. She's got a kid. He's got 4 kids. If she moves in with him, could he be financially liable even if he's getting a pension already?
No, only if they go around, if she can get people to, like his parents or somebody, to say that she put herself out as his wife, there's a slim chance on that. But no, if he puts those children, he adopts those children, she can go and put the children on his benefits. It won't affect his money necessarily. He'll actually get paid for the kids, but
right. But I'm saying, but if he starts paying bills for them, would he become? Is there an avenue for her to make him financially responsible?
No. If he's not legally adopting the children, no.
What if she marries him?
If she marries him, she gets nothing. So the day that they divorce, that night, all benefits stop. If she's going to school, 12 o'clock midnight, all benefits stop. If she's getting the health care champion, 12 midnight, it stops. The only thing they screw themselves on, these guys want to be nice guys and agree to give them a military ID card or something. That's when it becomes complicated, but that's hard to do even with that. Once he submits a divorce decree, that's it. No benefits transfer over. Only the retirement in the military if she's with you for that 20 years, or 10 years if you physically, she has proof of physical being attacked. But you can do whatever afterward, whatever kind of situation. She can't touch your money, but she could try to lock you up, or put you, say she's in fear, where she gets control and becomes a fiduciary over your funds. And if it's because of a mental disorder, how are you going to prove that you're competent to handle your stuff? That's why it's always to have another person outside of you that is standing, like, guarding you if you have any type of physical illness too. So this is how they get veterans. They lock you up somewhere, and nobody, you can't, until you get out. She's going to say, I'm doing it in his best interest, but he don't realize I'm doing it in his best interest. This is real. Yeah, bro.
Well, that's my thing right there. I'm just saying, if she tries to pull a Cassie on you, and if you don't have an avenue for that, well, like I said, I mean, if you guys on your pensions and stuff, for the most part, I was thinking, like, I pretty much figured there goes along the bankruptcy protocol for it. So I can't imagine there's a bunch of circumstances in which your pensions would be vulnerable.
No.
Yeah, I don't think there'd be circumstances that would occur. However, so you old cats out there creeping along with your Plymouth Prowlers, y'all are okay. For the rest of us, there could be a peril.
Yeah, it's not. Nobody's really going to mess with nothing. These guys just make dumb decisions. But Jason, I want to ask you this question. Do you remember the cartoon when we was young? And this brings it home. Bad Leroy Brown.
Oh yeah, baddest man in the whole damn town.
Badder than an old King Kong, meaner than a junkyard dog. Now, this is a cartoon where they showed to us as children of a bad guy from Chicago, south side of Chicago. He had a razor blade in his boot. He had a 38. Now they showing this to children. I ain't hear no women complain about that. I never, when we was growing up, I don't remember anybody outraged about it. I don't remember parents being outraged about it. There were no black women in the cartoon. It was only white women, 2 white women that with non-consent, he reached and grabbed and kissed. And the second dude, he was just as bad as Leroy Brown, and they got into it. But the point of it is, do you see how they've been conditioning us for years? They've been teaching women that the bad guy is the one you want to go after. He had an Eldorado. He had a Lincoln Continental and an Eldorado.
I don't care if the nigga got a bicycle. My point is, no, brother, no. Women have always been like that because remember, you and me as men, we don't see the world the way women do. We don't see it that way. Let me remind you again, Prince. You have walked across a dark parking lot at night. Yes. You have thought many things could happen to you. You've never once thought, I'm going to get raped and then get killed. That wasn't what you thought was going to happen. You thought you'd get your car taken. You thought you'd get robbed. You might think you're going to get shot. You never once thought that you were going to get raped and killed.
No.
So
never
there's the difference. Females have to think like that. And what I'm saying is they have to think of the world in those terms. You have a daughter. You've had to teach your daughter about, hidden dangers.
Yes.
If she runs, the days come when she's running to one of them because she starts acting different. That's when you finally realize she's running to something. I might not know what it was, but one of them has happened. So she might still be alive, but she's not the same naive little girl she was.
Right.
And my point is, females see the world differently from us. So she also sees, quote unquote, dangerous men differently than you. She sees it as there's a bunch of sharks out here in this world. And now I got a shark on my team.
Exactly.
Now that's the way women see it.
As a protector, she sees the shark as a protector.
Of course, the rest of y'all, there's a bunch of pit bulls running around out here. Now I've got one of my own.
My God.
So all of a sudden, she's a lot more confident. She's a lot less afraid to go places. She's hanging out in different areas and things. Well, yes, she sees that fella differently than you. But once again, Prince, for the same reason that we see hoes differently from females, she's planning on doing something different with him than you will. Even if you were to hang out with Leroy Brown, you're not going to do the same thing with him that the females are. At least I hope not. No, Diddy. But no. You're not going to do the same thing with him that the females are. So there's the difference. When we start trying to, quote, warn them, we got to understand their perspective on that is different from ours.
I asked myself a question, and I asked you the same question, Jason. And tell me if I'm wrong, because you may have mentioned it or she may have done it. Jason, why this tape had to be introduced? Did she ever mention this incident before when she was going for her money?
No, none of these females said a damn word about it. None of them said anything. Dude, there wasn't the bag yet.
So it's all about that dollar.
No, look, what Cassie realized was she stayed too long. Diddy got done with her, and he did what she thought was not going to happen. He put her on the roadside for pickup. He traded her in for a new model. She got used to that life, wasn't nobody else stepping up to provide it, and Diddy was done. So Diddy is being sued today because this is your bitter, you broke up with me, now I'm screwing you tax. You sent me off to be with Alex Fine. And the bottom line is Alex Fine is a nice guy. Alex Fine is no Diddy. He's not going anywhere. Alex is never going to be Sean Combs. Ever. You will never walk. Cassie is never going to walk in a room with Alex and all the heads turn and talk about Alex. I didn't say about her. All the heads are not going to turn and talk about him. He's never been anywhere with her. He's never taken her anywhere where he raised her status. And eventually she got more angry and more bitter as time went on. And then they passed this bull jive ass law in New York, and you got some ambulance chasers who jumped on it. But the bottom line is Alex isn't going anywhere. He's a failed backup dancer. He's a fitness trainer. And she's sitting there saying, do I really want this to be my status for the rest of my life? And when a woman gets desperate, she sees it as a death sentence, and she's like, what's the worst that can happen? Diddy'll sue me into oblivion. Oh, well, it ain't like I got nothing. I'm just here with Alex. And so she had a lawyer who said, hey, you ain't got nothing to lose.
Right. And they putting all type of contradictory information in there. She had relations with him, but it wasn't consensual, but they had a relationship, you know. Now, Jason,
her defense is the mind control defense, which is just disgusting. This man's doing all this terrible stuff. He's gotten he left you in Los Angeles. He's gotten on an airplane and gone all the way to damn me New York, and I must follow him back. At what point is this insulting our intelligence? He got on that damn plane, you leave his ass. Or you get on the plane with him to New York. When y'all get to the damn terminal, you grab your bags. He's going to walk one way, you walk the other. Oh, but we can't do that either. Why not? Mind control. And I'm just saying, they ought to go take these attorneys' licenses for pushing these things.
Jason, I don't know if you're right. I don't know if you're a prophet, but you definitely have what we call in the Bible a word of knowledge. Because you bring information in such a way, because I had already mentioned what about her father, and you brought it up. I already had my question set up here. Now, one question I would have for her, all right, after the first violation, what did your father say after you were violated the first time? If you notice these women, and I'm doing this for you, young men, and older fools that ask her, what would her father say? Jason talked tonight like as a father, because her father gonna say, I told my daughter when she was young, if you get in the car with 4 men, expect anything to happen. So don't be surprised. If you make it back alive to me, just be happy that you're alive. We'll do what we can to fight for you then. But I'm telling you now, expect anything. If they're cool, whatever they say to you, that's a situation you shouldn't put yourself in, because you being a black female, they gonna question, well, what are you in the car for?
Well, like I say, I mean, we have to start using our common sense here. And the system is so damn corrupt. It's told the women, you can say anything crazy and we'll back it. And men have to be aware of that. And this is really a product of men getting complacent. Men have been so desperate for female access that they've let them sit up here and weaponize the whole damn society against us. And then you got dudes going along with it because he thinks he's going to be the last one put on the trains to dock out. He thinks he's going to be the last one on that. And he's willing to sell out everybody else. And this is why the women don't have respect for us as a group, because they're like, some of y'all will stick together, but we know there's going to be this desperate nigga over here. He going to break ranks. He going to break ranks and sell the rest of you out. And we know that reliably. I'll let you have the last word.
I'm assuming that there's nothing that we can do to get these guys on code. I'm assuming because dealing with other things, we not. What is the thing here? Do we just keep reaching to the young men?
Yeah, we got to talk to the young ones who have not become set in their ways.
Okay.
And that's what you see happening today. You know, when you see the drizzle thing, you know, these are young men who are not set in their ways. The fellas who finally just give up, or they're disingenuous. They say that they see the issue, but then they're not acting like it. They talk like they see it, but they're acting as if everything's okay. That's the thing for us to watch out for. But the young ones, I'm not nearly as worried about them as long as they get exposed to this. Then they're not going to be naive. But they have to be taught young to value themselves, which they're actually not conditioned to do.
Jason, I want to ask this last thing. Are the fathers playing a role in their daughters becoming young hoes by making them little princesses and stuff? And the other questions I'm gonna ask you more in detail if you still have the Patreon. But are the fathers playing a role in grooming these girls in a certain way that they become entitled and think there's no responsibility for their actions?
I'm not impressed when a chick tells me that she was raised with a father at home. All these red pill dudes and manosphere dudes talking about chicks raised with their dads. Have you seen the caliber of these simp ass daddies out here? Y'all acting like these women are being raised by John Amos.
Right.
From Good Times, and they're not. James Evans, they're not. So that the fellas need to update their damn files.
Join me, and I will complete your training.
Fellas, get that garbage out your mouths. Talking to Fresh and Misfit and the rest of these folk out here, y'all don't. People, stop talking silly and stupid. There's a reason you haven't heard Jason Black say none of this nonsense, because it's not true.
Right.
Have you actually updated your files? Have you actually taken into account the caliber of, quote, fathers out here? These are not alpha males raising competent ladies.
No.
That's not what we got going on out here. They're not doing that. At best, you've got father no simping. And at worst, you got a damn jailbird. These chicks have been raised with fathers who simp on them and dote on them. And he's basically like an older brother that she doesn't have to respect. And they sit up here and give you these damn lines about that stuff. No, that's why it's never impressed me since I became a grown man. It's never impressed me for a female to tell me about her damn daddy. I'm like, wait a minute, I might not like that nigga. He might not be like me.
No, that's real.
What if I don't okay, you had a dad. What if I don't respect him? What if he's soft? What if he's weak? What if he's a hoe? Now what? So don't sit up here and tell me about your damn daddy. I might not respect that nigga. I might not respect him. I might not. It's not got nothing to do with liking him. I mean, a bunch of fellas I didn't like, but I respected them. I might not respect this nigga. I'm like, oh, nigga, you weak. No wonder I've met your daughter where I met her at. You weak. And we have to be honest with ourselves about that. So fellas are out here groping for something they can depend on. And what I'm saying is what you can depend on is your experience. if you are afraid to get out here and have experiences so that you can be the authority on what is a stable chick and what isn't, and who gets used and who doesn't, it's not going to work. This idea that you're going to make some cookie cutter formula. If she had a father in her life, and if they got along, if your girl got along with a simp ass nigga, that's a plus.
Real talk. So if he was if she ever saw her daddy get emasculated, is that the kiss of death, Jason?
I don't know whether or not she saw it happen or not. What I'm saying is his example is going to matter more than anything. If he's not a man who demonstrates what an assertive, driven man standards are, then she comes to you and it's a damn mismatch. Because what her father wants from her is different from what you want from her. And if he's not preparing to hand her off so that she is a competent, balanced, sensible, non-emotional, tantrum-giving individual, what these men usually do is they coddle their daughters until they are insanely selfish. And then they go looking for a man who's going to become the new plug to provide her with that, to take over where her dad left off at. And what I'm saying is, yeah, that's the kind of nigga I would never get along with. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight, Prince. Let me see if I can get Malik up here on Zoom. Let me see if I can get Malik up here on Zoom. We're waiting on Malik to connect his Zimbabwe broadband. It's moving a little bit slowly there. I don't know if Malik is on Zimbabwe broadband or Ethiopia mobile. I'm not sure which one it is. It says it's trying to connect him. I'm going to give him about 5 more seconds here, and then we got to move on. Because Malik is not sure what he got there. All right, Malik, we're going to have to put you to the side here, brother. Your Zimbabwe broadband is not working out so well. Let me go ahead and see if I can get Dan up here. All right, Dan, Southside Mobile is kind of buffering on him. Oh, these Negroes are trying to work their 4G tonight. They don't understand on Fridays. That will be a challenge. That will be a challenge for them to get that working on a Friday. All right, Dan, are you with us? Hell no, Dan's trying to find his microphone.
You can hear me, brother?
Okay, I can see. I think I can hear you now.
Oh, it's a lot of heavy information you just dropped. Okay, you get me now?
Yeah, go ahead, Dan.
What the fuck? Okay, what I want to say is it's a lot of heavy information that you dropped. A lot of heavy information according to the lawsuit that I ain't never really paying attention to till this now. But you know what I do think? Though? I do think a lot of dudes get it. I think a lot of dudes just very naive. And a lot of dudes don't want to accept the game for what it is. Or what's going on right now. I think a lot of dudes are stuck on, I won't say stuck on stupid, but I think a lot of dudes' information is not updated. As you would call it. So that's what I think what it is.
I don't think that's what it is. I think you have a bunch of soft-ass mama's boys out here, and they've been raised to... Females don't fight like men. With men, we got an issue, we walk right up in your face. That's how we deal with it as men. Women don't do that. Women deal with things through deception, subterfuge. And so you have a bunch of sissified males out here, and that's how they're dealing with the rest of the world. So rather than admit what their deficiencies are, they're telling themselves they found an alternative strategy. And their alternative strategy is kiss women's asses and sell out the other men at the drop of a dime. If it comes down to it, sell all the other guys out. That's what I have to trade with. That's what I have to leverage.
Yeah,
I'll sell the rest of you out.
Yeah. Yeah, you do got it is a lot of simping going on, even though you don't got to agree, even though you don't have to like P. Diddy. So, but I think what you saying in these lawsuits, as you was pointing out, that's very telling though. I think smart dudes are aware of what's going on. So I'm not disagreeing with you saying that it's a lot of simplified dudes, but I think a lot of those dudes is being naive. Like you say, I think a lot of them just do the pandering because so they can get some female attention too by throwing another dude under the bus.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're naive, except, being gameless doesn't make you naive. Being a weak individual who you want female attention just like the rest of these guys, but you've told yourself, well, if I can undermine the rest of them, that'll leave more females for me. And what I'm saying is, yeah, that's not naive. That's just short-sighted and selfish and impractical. But it's not naive. These guys know what they're doing. Let's be clear about that, brother. Every man who gets approached by a female, he knows what he's doing. He knows. He knows whether he's standing on the square, and he knows whether he's just kissing ass and pandering. He knows whether he's really engaging her or whether or not he's just trying to figure out what she wants to hear. And let me give her that. So a lot of these fellas out here, because, look, Dan, here's the bottom line. Most males fail with women. Period. Most males fail. Jason, what do you mean by that? Most males, the female they're with, that's just the one they could get. And that's for the ones who can actually get one, because the majority of males, as evidenced by YouPorn and OnlyFans, can't even get that far. So much less have variety and selection among females, they actually don't get that far. So everything they deal with is from a standpoint of desperation. It's from a position of desperation, absolute desperation. So you meeting a female, for you, it's like no big thing. For him, it's, oh my God, one responded. She might be interested. I must do anything. And next thing you know is full-blown ass kissing. And it's consistent. You never see him stand on the square. He can't attract attention on his own, much less interest. And he refuses to take a look and see his deficiencies that are causing that. So it's like dealing with a hoe. Her sexual strategy is throw your drawers or whoever. The answer to everything is sex. Well, to a simp, the answer to everything is kiss ass. That's the answer to everything.
That's dangerous. That's extremely dangerous.
It sure
now
is.
I'm sitting here thinking about it because I remember myself in a situation when I was dealing with a chick and I had a friend of me.
No, Dan, you ain't gotta go there with it. You don't have to go there with it, brother. Go to the right place with it, nigga. You remember what it was like when you was in the pen.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, you can't trust no simp. You can't trust no simp behind bars. You're gonna say, oh, this anybody who is prone to sell you out. And in that environment, you were hypersensitive to it. When you was locked down, you were hypersensitive. You're like, hey, the fella who will sell you out, we can't fool with him at all. He's dangerous.
I did not listen. While I was behind the door, I used to do my research on all my cellies. If they were saying, hey, I'm locked up for this, I would ask, hey, listen, you got copy of your court documents? Because I'll read them a motherfucking case. And I had a study one time that his situation was over a chick. He of course he had a shitload of time, but his situation was over a chick. But his own mama testified against some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And I was reading the details. I looked at them. It was crazy as hell. It was a situation. It was a situation with his mom's and her boyfriend, and he did boyfriend. The mama testified. He turned on son there. Yeah, and that dude was still. He still was sad. I saw that point. I saw that. Man, boy, look.
Like I say, what you're looking out for, brother, when you see a fella here who's desperate.
I definitely thank you for the information though, so far as breaking it down with these lawsuits, because truth to be told, I've been listening to a lot of these YouTubers and they ain't breaking that shit all the way down. How you breaking it down, detail to detail, every step of the way. You know what I'm saying, of what's really going on. You know, so everybody's just putting their own theory, their own mix to it, but they ain't breaking the paperwork down. If that make, you know what I'm saying? So
I mean, look, when you don't have an agenda, all I'm saying is if y'all would just read the damn documents, if you will read what the hell the lawyer said, the lawyer is telling, they'll get out here in front of the media and tell you he was forcing things. Then you read the damn documents, like, wait a minute, because you've lived your life. It's like, wait a minute, if somebody tried to force me to do something, I know what's going to happen. So let me see what he was doing to her. And then you find out, oh, she was just chasing a record deal. She was just chasing the contract. She was just chasing the bag. And what do you know? Just like everybody else, she's hung around for a decade until Diddy was finally like, yeah, in your case, I just call you when nobody else answers the phone, or if I'm in New York on a weekend when nobody else answers the phone. Oh, let me see what old April doing. Hey, girl, what you doing down there? Now that Diddy has stopped answering the phone, the black man raped me. Now it's that. Now that he's not answering the phone for you anymore. Now
let me ask you this. Let me ask you this last question. The video you saw with the Cassie and Diddy, because I kind of got my own theory on this. You know, me come from where I come from, but I just want to low key hear yours. Do you believe that video that came out, even though it's 8 years old, even though they tried to say he paid $50,000, all that other shit? Do you think that Cassie stole something from Diddy and Diddy chased her down with a bath towel on, getting out the shower, pulled a slick one, something they used to do?
You know, it's really hard to tell, and I don't think Diddy's going to give any more details about it. I mean, look, the bottom line is she did something that upset him, and he came out swinging. I'm not saying I condone it. I'm not saying that's cool. I'm not saying that's okay. No. I'm answering your question. I'm not saying I condone it. I'm not saying it's cool. I'm not saying that's okay. I'm not saying that's great. I'm not saying that's cool. What I am saying, though, is that number one, we might not have all the story, but we certainly have the part that happens at the elevator. We certainly have that.
Yeah, I'm not
now,
saying that you.
If she stole something, okay, hold on, Dan. I'm answering the question for you.
I thought that video was kind of suspicious.
Okay, well, I'm answering the question. What I'm saying is, if she stole something from him, I would expect for him to just take back whatever it is she stole and, leave it at that. This was something beyond that. Was he tweaking on that narcotic? I don't know. According to their documents, he was. According to their documents, he was lit that night. So, if that's the case. So she called him vulnerable or whatever. Obviously he didn't come out that room upset over nothing. He came out very, very upset. I mean, you run around the damn bathroom with the ISG and your bath towel in the middle of the night. Yeah, you're upset. You're very, very upset. You ain't even got time to put your drawers on. So something happened. The only issue that I have, though, is it's gonna be very, very difficult to explain that away for him. Basically, I think you can take the video at face value for about 80% of it. I think 80% of it you can take at face value because I don't see how seeing everything happen there and stuff. I don't see there's too much to explain away in that regard, other than they was both in the room doing drugs that night, and Diddy got way more lit than she did. And he's on one. And now you got to take that. But here's my thing about that. If that was a problem for her, the time and place to handle that was in Los Angeles at the ISG. That was the time to handle that. Especially if this is your umpteenth time with that happening, okay, she picking up a damn phone. We got her on video picking up a phone. It's like, wait a minute, okay, what is the point of availing you to all these resources? You ain't gonna use none. So very clearly, it didn't bother you that damn much. You sitting there with the damn phone in your hands and not doing anything. So let's just call it for what it is. Dan, like I know, these chicks sit up here and get in fights with these dudes all over the damn place. And they are a whole lot lower than Diddy. What the hell's gonna happen when you and me try to step in and tell her, you need to leave him. Hey, you back up from her. She needs to leave you. She gonna cuss you and me out. I'm handling this. I got this. Yeah. Now tell me that's not true what I just said.
Man, that's 100%. Man, listen. I just gave you a story that a motherfucker stepped in on his mama. The boyfriend whooping his mama, and he put that hot shit on dude ass, and the mama testified against him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So when they tell you that kind of thing right there, brother, if you and me were in that hallway that night, Cassie gonna think about the Bentley, the Benz, the Rolls Royce, the Gala, the Grammys, and she gonna tell you and me to go kiss her ass. She gonna tell you and me it ain't none of our business.
Yeah, that, or usually you put your nose in the man's business when he discipline his woman, not saying that it's okay to put hands and feet on the chick. Like, no. But you put your hand, you put your nose in another man's business, some niggas having on it, you know what I'm saying, to get out on you.
Well, you know, I mean, put that to the side. Even if there were no issues there and Diddy wasn't a problem for it, I don't think that's a problem either. I'm saying remove that from the equation altogether. Remove the possibility of having to have a confrontation with him altogether. Leave this at just Cassie and what does she have the power to do? And even if you and me were there, you and I are both very, very much not confident that if we tried to step in, that she would do anything other than, okay, thanks y'all for calming him down. Now let me get back in this room with him. And that's what it would be. Remember, the most dangerous call for police officers is domestic violence. Remember that. Well, guess what? What's the most dangerous situation for men out in public either? Trying to break up some chick and her dude and whatnot, and you sit up here and take 3 bullets and she walks off with the guy who just shot you. That's the issue. Now, we can't keep saying that and then we don't actually take it seriously. We turn into a cliche. We destroy ourselves with it. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight, Dan. I don't know. Maybe some of the women in here feel differently. Maybe some of y'all want to sit up here and go jump in the middle of it. And you're like, well, if I was there, if I told Cassie, come on, girl, we leaving, she would leave with me. Hell no. Cassie would tell you to kiss her ass too. And you know it. Cassie would tell you to kiss her high yellow ass. I don't belong in no Uber with you. I belong in the Rolls Royce with him. That's where I'm supposed to be. I belong up here in the penthouse. That's where I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be here. Y'all see this every day. And what I'm saying is, okay, then how is it all of a sudden this became cataclysmically, miraculously different? It's the same as everything else. And fellas, most men, you just don't get it. I started off the program saying, by the way, do you see the level of utter contempt they have for you out here? You don't get it. You don't get it. It wasn't rappers and professional athletes that made dangerous men attractive to women. It's survival, it's elevation, it's progress, it's reliability. You sitting up here talking about the Cassie in the damn video at the hotel. As far as she's concerned, that demonstrates allegiance to her. If her only worry was when he became indifferent. Remember, Cassie did not take any action against Diddy until Diddy became indifferent about her. Damn! Well, it's true. Here we are, all these decades later. By the way, Cassie never picked up a phone, never did nothing. These women only took action against Diddy after he became indifferent about them. Now, all of a sudden, I found my courage and I found my voice. Nah, heifer, you found a sleazy ass lawyer who was going to take a case on contingency. But let's just keep it real. They had decades to say something, to even just say something. They didn't say anything. They had decades to take action. They didn't do anything. Okay, then stop lying about what occurred. One day the man took you because you were amusing for a time. You eventually aged out. Y'all see, did he hold on to him for about 8 or 10 years? And then that's it. You gone. He holds on to him for about 8 or 10 years and then he moves him on out. Lately, it's only been about 3 or 4 years. She got to move out. As time has gone on, the amount of time he lets them stick around has gotten less and less. Now the chicks who got put on the curbside for pickup, they're all like, oh, well, let me see if somebody will help me redeem this. But let's be clear, they didn't have any of this energy until he stopped answering the phone. Now they got that energy. And I'm just saying, hey, if that's what it's going to be, then let's just call that for what it is and say, okay, well, that's what it really is. But don't sit up here and tell me somebody's a victim. You can't be somewhere for 10 years fighting to get on airplanes and then tell me you're a victim. That's not victimhood. Victimhood is something else. But you're not a victim jumping on the airplane. There's a whole bunch of fellas out here, they got these simp boots on. Not their pimp boots, they're simp boots. And telling themselves that as men, we're going to ingratiate ourselves. Look it up. That we're going to make ourselves more popular and more accepted by the women if we kiss enough ass. And fellas, I'm telling you, take a look at the dudes they going for here. That's not working. That's not working. It doesn't mean it. What you're so desperate for it to mean, it doesn't mean that. Cassie's here because she lost the bag. She said, okay, let me see if I can get enough simps to support me for another one here. And I am no friend to Sean Combs. I am not a defender of Sean Combs. I'm just a defender of logic and sanity. If I saw anybody experiencing this, I would call it for what it is. I'd call it if it was anybody. All I'm saying is, fellas, can we be honest enough to say, yeah, this is what it really is? These women are coming back decades later to see if they can come scam a bag. There's nothing that Cassie knows today that she didn't know in 2016. The only thing she didn't know in 2016 was that he was getting ready to drop her off in a couple years. That's the part she didn't know. Other than that, we all know the same thing. And what I'm saying is, don't sit up here and let them fool you. Stop demonizing fellas like that. Demonize them for the right things. Don't demonize them because a bunch of females ran up to you and said, okay, go ahead and do this because you think you're going to make yourself popular as a result. That's the problem. The rest of y'all ain't going to go around with you. They going to love me when it's over. And because here's the thing that every female in here listening to me knows. Every simp is always the most passionate female ass kisser you can imagine as long as the woman is answering the phone for him. But the second that she tells him that she's not available, she knows you're going to be in her DMs talking about, look here, you stupid bees, all y'all stuck up hoes. They know you're going to go off on them. Women know this. That's how they know to string you along. If you're useful. And as soon as she no longer has a use for you, yeah, forget about it because she knows you're going to curse her smooth slap the hell out. As soon if she definitively, every woman knows never to tell a man that sex is not on the table. Every female knows not to say that. You might need him to help you move some furniture. You might need him to help move this Frigidaire. So every female knows, don't say that. That's how you string males along. If you never say the sex ain't on the table, he's going to assume, well, eventually she going to make an opening for me. And she knows she can string you along the rest of her life. But if she comes out and tells you, yeah, I see you as a friend, but I could never be sexual with you. She knows she's about to get cussed smooth, slapped the hell out. She knows that's the last time you're going to talk to her. Now, tell me I'm wrong about that. Tell me that's wrong. No, Jaden, you ain't right about that. That's not what they do. We don't do that there. Okay. Prince asked what's going to wake these fellas up. These fellas eventually wake up, but when they do wake up, they're angry and bitter, whining and moaning. Because kissing ass never got anywhere. So they're just angry and bitter. And then they start growling and talking about red pills and this, that, and the other. It's like, dude, it was always that way. You just thought you were going to kiss ass to get it. And in reality, you just didn't get it. You didn't get it then. You don't get it now. We're going to go ahead and wrap up things here tonight. If you are new here to the business, welcome to the program that all your favorite YouTubers love to hate watch. Click that red subscribe button, click that yellow notification bell. Join us each and every time that we're here. If you haven't been to our Patreon, the link is in the description. Got a few things I want to cover tomorrow here, so you can definitely go ahead and join us for that as well. I want to thank all of you for tuning in to tonight's program. Thank you for watching live or recorded. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of The Business. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, Mr. Jason Black. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, handle your business or your business will handle you.